Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexiot's here. It's Friday, and we're doing Friday Freakout, and it's about Koloko. And once again, there's no substantiated news one way or the other right now. I'm just reacting to something that Doug Smith put in his mailbag on Sunday. I had not seen until yesterday. Because, you guys are always asking me, what is going on with Christian Koloko? And I like to stay on top of it by really scouring the internet for every little nugget of information about him. And so I check the news on him online all the time. And well, the most latest thing that's come out is is him talking about it in his news bag, his mailbag or whatever for the Toronto Star. Doug Smith, the writer for the Toronto Star, saying that we need to get over the idea of Koloko coming back. Yeah, let me read his statement first of all. And I want to say this first before I read this, guys. Just because Doug's saying this doesn't mean this is true. Doug Smith has been incorrect in his career as a journalist, and he may be an insider. He may have more knowledge than most people, including myself, but it does not mean that he is right, just so y'all know. And this stream is not about saying that the Koloko return to the Raptors is dead. This is not what this is. This is just Doug Smith, his opinion and what he's saying. So let's listen to what he's saying here. This is the exact statement from his mailbag on Sunday. Everyone needs to move on from Koloko. Really? As far as I know, he's not cleared for return. If he is, there's no spot for him here. And at no point have I ever heard he wants to come back to the team that cut him about 2 years ago. It's a non-starter. All right, I'm going to break this down and eviscerate Doug Smith real quick on this one. Real quick. Yeah. All right, first of all, he's saying everyone needs to move on from Koloko. Why do you write it that way, Doug? Sometimes I wonder if you're a Raptors beat writer or you're an inside man for the NBA to media manipulate the Toronto market. Because seriously, in some ways, I don't believe you're for the Raptors. I believe that in some ways, since you've been an original cover of the Raptors for the newspaper, that in some ways you're ensconced in a inner circle of journalists that defend and do things for the integrity of the NBA. In some ways, you're not a friend of the Raptors. I know this because of how you treated the Vince Carter departure, the way you dealt with it, and the way you made it very confusing, and you kind of blew everything up yourself. You were right in the middle of it. You had a big part in why Toronto hates Vince Carter to a degree right now. And then I'm thinking, why would he say this? Is he trying to speak for the league? Like, are you the mouthpiece for the league officials from the inside? And you're saying, oh, everyone needs to move on from Koloko. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Doug Smith, that Scotty Barnes has not moved on from Koloko. No, he hasn't. And I'll tell you why I know this is because last week, and this is part of the reason why you got all the questions. It may be that Doug Smith is just really tired and sick of getting the questions from everybody. What's going on with Koloko? What's going on with Koloko? What's going on with Koloko? Maybe he has fatigue from constant mailbag questions saying, hey, when is Koloko coming back? What's going on with Koloko? I mean, in some ways, I can identify with him. Y'all have asked me about Koloko almost every week for like over a year now. So it's like I can identify with him being upset about it. So he's a little frustrated. He says, everyone needs to move on from Koloko. It's like, do I need to read it in an angry voice, Doug Smith, because you're just fed up with the Koloko questions? Well, do you understand why they start asking you about Koloko last weekend again? It's because Scotty Barnes was on Twitch and somebody told him that Koloko was clear and he was coming back. And Scotty freaked out. He got really, really excited. He got like, Koloko's back? Oh, yes. He started cheering. He started getting so excited at the prospect of hearing that his friend Christian might be able to return health-wise to play for the Raptors. So obviously, a little bit of a ripple around Raptors Nation went around, including myself on this channel, talking about the possibility of Koloko coming back and that maybe the signs are there. The fact that we saw his name on Basketball Reference with his salary and on there and not seeing people like Sasha Venchenkoff and other people that have gone and passed, but Koloko's still on there. Are these telltale signs? Doug Smith, is this a moment when you are just not in the know, that you are wrong? Seriously, you were wrong when you said that about Armani Brooks. Yeah, you were. You were very wrong about what you said about Armani Brooks. And every time you're out of pocket, I will bring up the name Armani Brooks. How about that, Doug Smith? So in some ways, listen, I'm going to say this right now. Doug, since you said what you said on Sunday, there's been a lot of footage that has come out this week showing Christian Koloko running up and down the court, full court, back and forth, dunking it, back and forth, dunking it, back and forth, dunking it. He's working out with JaVale McGee this week, and he looks like he's fine health-wise. I don't know. Are you a part of the institution of the NBA that's holding the line, the company line, and that you're the one who's going to have to come and massage things with the Raptors and the market here in Toronto with the fans are going to be disappointed about what happens with Christian Koloko? Are you the one who's coming in to break the news to us saying, everyone needs to move on from Koloko? Really? 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 I don't know, really. As far as I know, he's not cleared to return. As far as you know, Doug, but it's not like you know every fucking thing in the world, Doug Smith, is what I'm going to say right now. Seriously, I mean, I'll break this statement down from his mailbag on Sunday. I'll break it right down and degenerate it all the way to dust if I have to here. Seriously, if he is, there's no spot for him here. Really? I don't believe that's true, Doug. I don't believe that's true. I mean, we could move somebody out of here and make a spot real quick because he's a very high-level prospect in some ways at center, and he is somebody that Masai highly values. I mean, once again, I'll say this, at Summer League, who was Christian Koloko hanging around and walking around with at the Summer League? He was with Bobby Webster, Masai Ujiri, and Raptors officials. Well, he's been working out this summer. The Raptors have had very close tabs on him and have been watching him. Now, Doug, have you been having close tabs on this like this? No, I don't know if you have, because you should know this. You should know this. You did not see the pictures of Koloko with Masai at the Summer League this summer? Seriously, you did not see this? There's no spot for him here? I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. And at no point have I ever heard he wants to come back to the team that cut him about 2 years ago. Wait a second. Doug, you must be getting old, because time must be moving way too fast for you to think this has been 2 years since we cut him. Motherfucker, we cut him in January of this year. Doug Smith, are you an idiot? I mean, seriously, this is something where I'm like starting to think, are you like Trump? Are you getting senile? Because honestly, you don't remember that we just cut Christian Koloko in January 2024? Because that's actually the damn truth. You're going to say we cut him 2 years ago. Wait a second. 2 years ago, he's a rookie coming into the league. All right, man. This just bona fidely says you are not to be trusted because you're making up shit. Because you're trying to say we cut Christian Koloko 2 years ago. And they're like, why would he want to come back after we cut him? Motherfucker, he understands the situation. He understood why the Raptors waived him this year. Because look, listen, and if you don't understand this, what kind of journalist are you, Doug Smith, that you can't understand? The Raptors had injury problems this year. We held on to him for most this year, even though he wasn't medically cleared last year until January. Then we made a whole bunch of trades. Then we had to do a whole bunch of moving around with the roster to make sure we had a healthy team that could play because people start getting hurt. Scotty Barnes gets hurt. Jakob Poeltl gets hurt. Well, we need active bodies to play on the floor. So in some ways, when you have a player that's not medically cleared to play and you really need people to come and play, well, you have to make a tough decision. But it wasn't a decision that Masai wanted to make or Bobby wanted to make. No, we never wanted to waive Christian. No, we did not. We had to do it for housekeeping, to maintain an active roster, to be able to show up to games and have enough players to play. I mean, for Pete's sake, we were playing Javon Freeman Liberty and Mohamedou Gay for a good chunk of the end of the season. So don't you understand this, Doug Smith? In some ways, I'm worried about you. When you say something like Christian Koloko, we cut him 2 years ago. Where is your fucking brain, bro? Have you been covering the Raptors for too long? Is it time for you to retire? Because I think you're off on the timeline here. You're saying we cut him 2 years ago. What the fuck is your brain, bro? Seriously, we cut him January 24th of 2024. We cut him, what is it? We cut him 8 months ago. 8 months ago, you dumbass. Oh my gosh. Doug Smith, what is wrong with you, bro? Seriously, where's your math, bro? Seriously. All right. And first of all, you saying that he has no intention of coming here? Look, all right. There was an interview he did with the University of Arizona earlier this year where he said he's looking forward to being on a new team. And I freaked out. I went crazy on it. You can look in my archive. You can find the stream the day after me going off on Christian about this. No, but don't get it twisted, Doug Smith. He's always said that he would welcome the opportunity to come back and play for the Raptors. There's no burnt bridge here. In some ways, the way you're trying to describe it is that there's a burnt bridge. And why would Christian ever want to come back to Toronto, the team that cut him? Oh my gosh. Masai and Bobby were probably very clear with Christian. They just said, look, this has nothing to do with you. We love you. We want you to continue to play for us, but the NBA will not let you medically play. And our hands are tied. We're in trouble. We don't have enough players to play. We need to have active bodies on there. So we have to make a tough decision. We're going to have to cut you just for right now. In some ways, we want to circle back and get you when you're cleared medically to play in the league. I know this is all true, what I just said. But Doug Smith's going to tell you we cut him 2 years ago. What is that? What is that? Doug, come on, man. I'm worried about you. We need a cognitive test for you. We need a cognitive test to see if your faculties are still up here. Seriously, because that was not 2 years ago, my guy. That was not 2 years ago when we waived Christian Koloko. That was January 2024, you dumbass. That's what I'll say right there. Listen, Doug may be right. In some ways, it may be that Christian is never, ever coming back. I have an insider in the Raptors that has told me that they think that he will not come back. That it is not gonna. It's a futile thing. That they're not gonna let him come back. That the blood clot thing is gonna be still the reason, and the fitness to play panel will not clear him to come back. But obviously, his own doctors have cleared him. He's running like crazy on the court. He looks physically ready to play and be able to be out there. But in some ways, his own doctors don't matter. As you know, I have a theory about this, and I think I'm gonna talk about it on Sunday, guys, but not today. I have a theory on this with Christian and what's going on right now, but we'll save it for Sunday. But first of all, I just want to say, Doug Smith, man, listen, you're supposed to be an insider. You're supposed to be in the know. I don't think you know what you're talking about, especially when you say he got cut 2 years ago by the Raptors and you're saying he has no intention to want to come back to the Raptors. What are you trying to write? What are you trying to say to us? What do you know that's extra? Because none of this shit is actually telling us anything. This is just your opinion. If you could give me a substantial reason why you think Christian Koloko does not want to come back to the Raptors, why don't you tell us? Seriously, instead of just leaving half-ass journalism in a mailbag, just saying your own opinion. Look, you want us to get over him and say, oh, get over him. He's not coming back. That's fine. And in some ways, I'm ready for that either way. But also at the same time, don't mislead us. Don't say bullshit like 2 years ago or say that he doesn't want to come back here because that's not true. Christian has very much vocally said he would come back to the Raptors and he'd be very happy to be a Raptor again. In fact, we've seen signs of him being very encouraged to try and become a Raptor again as far as wearing the red and black when he's working out. He's wearing our colors, and he's very much showing strong support for people like Ulrich Shamshay and other Raptor players in different places. So don't give me this crap, Doug. If you're going to write a lazy-ass response to somebody in your mailbag, make sure you put more thought in it. And the fact that you said, I want to break it down. Read it one more time for y'all. This is exact words that Doug Smith wrote on Sunday about Christian Koloko, saying he's debunking the Christian Koloko return. He's debunking it. You know, listen, if Scotty thinks it's realistic, if Scotty's freaking out on Twitch about hearing that it could happen or it did happen, why would you think he's stupid and think that, that this could never happen? I don't know if you understand that Scotty heard this and he went crazy when he heard it. It was not true. Somebody may have been trolling him. Maybe was fucking around with him. But the fact that Scotty was overjoyed at the idea of Christian Koloko being healthy and able to return to the Raptors, it says something, Doug. It says something that the Raptors want him back. And it also says that, in some ways, Christian does want to come back there. Seriously, because he keeps in contact with these guys. He's still friends with a lot of the guys he's played with in his rookie year on the Toronto Raptors. So, what's going on here? He said, everyone needs to move on from Koloko, really. As far as I know, he's not cleared to return. As far as you don't know jack shit. You don't know. You don't know yet. Nobody knows. And it may be Rich Paul and Christian Koloko and Clutch and the Raptors and the NBA are keeping it hush-hush right now because it's in the final processes of figuring out the clearing of him for the fitness to play panel. So you admit you don't know. I don't know either. I'm not going to say that I know or don't know until it all gets sussed out. We won't know. But with you coming in and being a negative ninny and saying, oh, you get over him. He's not coming back, everybody. Listen, if you're trying to break it down so that we can come down easy just in case this does go awry, okay, I understand that. And that's very benevolent of you, Doug Smith. Oh, you're so nice. Break it to us in a nice and kind way, the way you have here. If he is, there's no spot for him here. And at no point have I ever heard that he wants to come back to a team that cut him about 2 years ago. It's a non-starter. Why you say it's a non-starter? You saying I can't fucking talk about this shit on my stream in the morning? Is that what you're saying? Nah, no, 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 no. It's not a non-starter because it is still a big fat question mark. What is going on with Christian Koloko right now? Now, I will say this is a sign that maybe Christian is not going to be cleared to play, is that the Miami Heat have recently signed center Malik Williams, who was a Raptor last year. We know Malik Williams. He was on our team last year. And well, Miami has filled a spot on their training camp roster with him. Now, maybe that is because I would think there's a few teams around the league monitoring the Koloko situation just to be trying to get in the bidding war to possibly get him because he is technically a free agent right now. We have no rights to him. If he comes back to us, well, that's because he was honorable. And he said, well, this is the team that put the investment in me already, and I want to return and come back. In fact, I really like Masai Ujiri and everything he's done for me, and I'm going to pay him back by showing loyalty. And, I mean, you know, it could go a lot of different ways. But, you know, the Heat getting Malik Williams yesterday, maybe that is a sign that he is not cleared to play and that we're not going to get to see Koloko come back because of some crazy-ass blood clot heart problem. So, man, we're going to have to see. We don't know if Doug's right. We don't know if I'm right. We don't know if Scotty getting overjoyed was stupid. We don't know. We're going to have to find out still. But you know what, Doug? When you say shit like he's been cut like almost 2 years now, it really shows that you're getting up there, man. That maybe your memory's just not that good right now because it was January 2024 when Christian got waived, just so you fucking know. I'll stand on that every single time. Somebody fact check this motherfucker. I did just now. There you go. So, yeah, that's my spiel on Christian Koloko this morning. It's still a big, huge question mark. And Doug Smith, in some ways, you sounded kind of faulty with your logic, especially when I can put holes right through what you're saying immediately through what you're saying. Yeah, that's what I'll say right there. All right, Cowboys here. Y'all, good morning, Lex and Rat Freaks. Stab to you, Cowboy. No Koloko, no problem. We've got Prince Shamshay. Yeah, all right. I like that attitude. You know, if one Cameroonian is not going to be able to play, well, we got a new one coming down the pipe, a brand new Cameroonian center who looks really, really good. And I'm super impressed with Ulrich and the footage we're seeing this week. And yeah, he looks really OP is what I'm going to say right now. There's things about Ulrich Shamshay that are very, very appealing and that he's going to grow into. I'm all about it. Cowboys also saying we got Darko, we got Mo, we got Lex, we got Mobo, we got Scotty, and we got Carlson, and we got Shed. There you go. He's just calling out that we're good. You know, Doug, thank you for telling us to break us down easy and say, oh, don't worry. Get over it, Raptors fans. Don't worry. He's not coming. I'm sorry, y'all. Oh, such a benevolent guy. Yo, break it to us gently, Doug Smith. Please break it gently to the Raptors nation that Koloko's not coming back in your mailbag with some half-ass lies in the middle of it. Yeah, break it gently to us there. Yeah, we got Jacoby Walter. Come on now. Yeah, let's go. That's right. We got Tom Ducarelli. That's right, Bradley. That's right. You're exactly right. We got all those people. And we got the Canadian Cowboy, too. That's right. Trevor's saying, good morning, family. Don't push away the people who truly care about you because one day you will push them away and they won't come back to you. Wow, Trevor. Heavy words of wisdom from Trevor all the time. He's always talking about this. Trevor, thank you for the chair once again. I don't want you to send me any more packages right now. You're spoiling me, and you're amazing. It's nothing against you, my guy. I appreciate you a lot. And yes, Trevor's bombarding me with things. He's sending me in the chat on Facebook, private chat, him and I, and telling me, do you want this, Lex? You want this? And I'm like, Trevor, no, I'm not. You're going crazy. I appreciate your benevolence. I appreciate your contributions to this channel in all kinds of ways. And just chill. Just chill for a sec. This chair is above and beyond. Seriously. You're an amazing guy. We love you, Commissioner Fun. We love you, man. He's also saying we still have Shamshay. He's saying the same thing as Cowboys, saying we got all these young rookies and Scotty. We don't care about Dagger Boy. Dagger Boy. That's what you're calling him, Dagger Boy? I don't even know if that's true. You mean Duggar Boy? Duggar Boy? I'm just worried about Doug, man. Like, why do you think that we cut Christian Koloko 2 years ago, Doug Smith? We need to take you to the doctor. We need to take you down there and get you to answer some questions about timelines because it seems like your time and space continuum is all distorted, my guy. Seriously. Trevor's saying starting work today for my schedule at 1 p.m. to present my signature haircut. Oh, this is cool. I want to know what Trevor's signature haircut looks like. I wonder what it is. Trevor's probably like got very much some amazing creativity with his hairstyling. So it's probably going to be very interesting the haircut that he does. Trevor, are 80s hairstyles in again, like a flock of seagulls kind of stuff? I want you to do hairstyles like the 80s again, because those crazy poofy bird looking hairstyles that people were doing back then, Duran Duran stuff, man, get that back in vogue, man. Seriously, if you have any power over this, I want to see more flock of seagulls hairstyles going on around the world today. Please, Trevor, if you can make that happen. You're probably laughing at me right now. And it may be like your colleagues that are around too may be laughing about this too. But I'd be very curious to see his signature haircut. Seriously, that'd be cool, Trevor. All the best to you, man. I know you're very busy with this week and with events going on. That's right. Monique is here. Good to see Monique live in the chat this morning. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. It was fun. Well, while it lasted, Koloko, what's going on with Adrien Griffin Jr.? Damn, stepping away so soon, drafted last year. All right, well, Mo, I want to preface this. Even though my stream is saying what it's saying, it doesn't mean it's true. I'm going to say right now, I think Doug Smith's full of shit, and we cannot trust him on this. It could very well turn around, and Koloko is going to be back in the next week or in the next month, and Doug Smith will be found to be full of shit. So, Mo, don't take this for granted. Don't take this for sure, because this is not reporting. This is his opinion, and he's just saying this, and he has no idea in the long run. We'll see what happens. If he's right, he's right. If he isn't, well, we'll see that, and I'll call him out on his bullshit for saying this. Seriously. So, Mo, don't just say, oh, it was fun while it's lasted, because it's not over. It's not over. The official determination for Christian has not been declared, and this is just Doug Smith talking out of his ass. How about that? How about that? Yeah. All right, let's talk about Adrien Griffin Jr. This is very sad, and I'm really worried about this. Not gonna lie, I'm really worried about this. The Griffin family has had a very, very tough year in the last year. Obviously, Adrien Griffin went through a roller coaster of crazy shit, coming from the Raptors as a top assistant coach under Nick Nurse, and that whole regime having to go because Nick Nurse is full of shit, and then getting hired as the Milwaukee Bucks coach, doing an excellent job, having the Bucks in the second place in the Eastern Conference, but not getting along with certain people in that organization to the point where he was fired in the middle of the season and replaced with Doc Rivers. Now, that has got to be really tough on Adrien. You know, we've got to think about Coach Griff's long career of being an assistant coach for like 15 years, and he finally gets his big shot. It's a dream job, and he does really well at it, but he still loses it. That's a very depressive kind of thing. In some ways, you got to think about DeMar DeRozan in his book, and he's signing it today here in Toronto at the Well at Indigo Books later today. That it's very possible Adrien Griffin's fallen into a deep depression because of his professional career and what that really dirty deed that the Milwaukee Bucks did to him in this past year. So who knows? His son is an extension of him. His son is, a player in the league. In some ways, anybody who's coming in as a junior, Bronny, is going to have more scrutiny. In some ways, there's always the thing of saying, oh, you're only here because you're dad. And in some ways, there may be some of that noise around AJ also. And it may be fair or not fair. I don't know. But it's tough to be a professional, have your confidence, and be strong. Now, I may be talking out of my ass, just like Doug Smith right now on this subject. But I could speculate that some ways the thing that happened to his dad is affecting his son mentally also. And, there's a thing called, what's it called? It's what's that word? Imposter syndrome. There's a thing called imposter syndrome where you can feel like you don't belong or you shouldn't be in the place that you are supposed to be, but you have feelings inside of you telling you you're not good enough or that you shouldn't be here for certain reasons. Now, that may be what's happening with AJ, and that's a sad thing because he's a very good player from Duke. He's had a very fruitful and good NBA career so far, but if you're not believing in yourself up here for certain reasons, well, maybe that's part of the reason why he's stepping away. Maybe it's because there's family problems. We've also heard that there have been a lot of issues around the Griffin family in different ways domestically in their family. Obviously, Adrien Griffin's ex-wife is a very hateful, angry person towards him for different reasons. And there's been a lot of speculation about Adrien and whether he's an abusive person. I don't know the answers to this. I cannot tell you the definitive reason why Adrien Griffin Jr. is thinking about retiring at the age of 21. But what I just said could be some of it. It could be some of it. I'm not saying it is for sure. All I can do is speculate. And in some ways, I'm trying to do it responsibly and also in a caring way, because I do care about Coach Griff. I care about his son, and I care about the Griffin family. They're in really good standing with Raptors Nation. We love you, Coach Griff. And even though Bucks Nation did you dirty, you always have a place with us on the Raptors, and you are an NBA Raptors champion coach. So, man, it's bullshit. It's bullshit, and it's sad. And I wonder how much the things that are happening to Coach Griff is affecting his son, is what I'll say about this, Mo. That's what I think it is in some ways. That family is just in a painful place, partly because of the dirtiness of, Giannis and you guys are bastards for not letting Coach Griff coach you the whole year. In some ways, Coach Griff is a guy from the old NBA, and the new NBA just doesn't have a place for tough, gruff, accountable coaches. You need to be a pushover. You need to be a player's coach. You need to be kind of massaging egos. And if you come at people with a certain old school kind of stance, they will get you fired, because the players have so much power. They're the ones with the money, and they will get you fired. And that could very well be part of what's happening here. There's a really good podcast out, All the Smoke, with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson with Dominique Wilkins this week. I watched it yesterday. It's a brilliant, brilliant episode. Y'all need to watch it, because when you hear somebody like Dominique Wilkins talk about the old NBA and how it used to be and how that's different now, well, it really illuminates a lot of things. And Dominique straight up said, I hate when these youngsters compare the different generations and try and put down the old generations to prop themselves up. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And y'all don't know what it was like to play Michael Jordan. Y'all don't know what it is like to play Larry Bird. And y'all are talking out of your ass, the newer generation, when you put down the old generations. He said, I never talked bad about Wilt Chamberlain or Bill Russell or Oscar Robertson, because I respected them, because they laid down the foundations for where we got to in the 80s. And Dominique is so right in so many ways. Listening to him talk about the old NBA makes you realize just how pussified this league has become, just how soft, just how wimpy, just how dainty. You listen to Dominique in that interview with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, and you hear a man that talked about real men fighting for position physically, and that all kinds of stuff was allowed back then, shoving and pushing. But now, you had to straight up punch somebody in the face to get in trouble in the old NBA. Now, if you push somebody a certain way, you get fined, just like Matt Barnes said. He said in that interview, he said, yeah, I got fined $3,000 for pushing someone. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The league is soft. The money made it soft. These guys are invested in themselves to not get hurt, so they got all wimpy and dainty. So any young generation player trying to talk about how this generation is more skilled and better, motherfucker, you weren't skilled in the streets. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. And if you came into the league of Barkley and Oakley, you'd find out real quick. You'd find out real quick. I mean, Dominique was saying stuff like, I would always play the small forward, because if I played the power forward, I was going to get my ass beat, because that's just how it is. They couldn't do switches like the new NBA does now. Because if you put the 3 on the 4 is going to beat up the 3 during the game. So he's like, Kevin Willis, former Raptor, Raptor alumni, great Raptor, Kevin Willis, would have to take the Charles Oakleys and the Buck Williams of the old NBA. Because if he was playing against them, he's going to get beat up. He's going to be bruised. He's going to get black and blue from the beating that the 4 would give the 3 if that position was changed defensively. So, there's a lot you could learn, young players, from the old heads like Dominique Wilkins. And y'all need to open up your ears and listen to them, because in some ways, y'all got it so good. And you listen to Dominique said he came into the league as a rookie, a top 5 pick, and he was paid $350,000 his rookie year. And, you got to understand, you guys are making so much money now, and he's proud of that. He's happy for y'all. But those guys paid for it in blood, sweat, and tears to get you to that money. And it's just a slap in the face when the younger generation NBA players talk shit about the plumbers and the unskilled players of the 80s and the 90s, because you jackasses don't even know the place that they were at and what was going on back then. And I love how Dominique illuminates that we never talked, that him and Larry were not friends when they played. They were competitors. And it wasn't until after they retired, and they were long gone after that when they weren't competitors, that they became very good friends. But he said that he never talked to Larry Bird, that him and Larry Bird were just on the court and just staring at each other and playing against each other, going at each other. And the chumminess around the NBA in general between teams is in some ways disgusting to the old generation, because they didn't like each other. And it was part of how the game was better back then. It was part of how the game was more physical and was more competitive. These guys, if they like each other on the down low, well, in some ways, are they going at as hard at each other? That's what I would say. Dominique also talking about how Larry Bird came back around and said the one player that I had the most respect for was Dominique Wilkins. And that was because I would talk trash to him constantly, and he would just smile at me and try and battle me evenly. And he said, that's the player I have the most respect for in this league is Dominique Wilkins, because he always met me toe to toe, and he always smiled at me whenever I talked trash to him. And that, in some ways, Dominique was like, that's a huge compliment. That is a huge compliment. Also, Dominique illustrating in the interview that Michael Jordan looked up to him when he played in the NBA. That in some ways, Michael came back around after they retired, and it's the same kind of thing. They weren't friends too much, really, when they were playing. He came back. They were friendly. They were more friendly than him and Bird. But he came back around and said, the guy that I was trying to chase and be like and be as good as, Michael is saying this, it was Dominique. Is that Dominique Wilkins was the guy that I was like, he is the epitome of what I need to be. And he was who I was chasing. Y'all check this interview out. Seriously, youngsters, especially young fans, if you really want to taste of what the old NBA was like, you need to watch Dominique Wilkins on All That Smoke. Seriously, it's a really, really good podcast. And honestly, they should have more greats, old players on that show to really, really hammer it home to the younger generations to start respecting those older generations. Seriously. Start respecting them right there. Yeah. Tommy's here. Good to see Tom Duke, our West Coast Raptor Freak president on Victoria, British Columbia. What's up, Tommy? Out Cowboy, good morning to you. And shout out to all the great people that stay consistently positive in this wacky world. Happy Friday, Raptor Freak family. Let's go, Raptors, with or without Konono. New era. With or without Koloko. With or without Koloko. I can live. With or without Koloko. Yeah, we're going to have to find out. Whoa. Listen, the basic thing with Christian is I just want him to get his health back. But I have some fishy questions about this whole thing. I really, really do. But I'm going to save them for Sunday. We're going to do a special report on this on Sunday. I have some fishy questions about this. Seriously. New era barbecue. Let's go, Tommy. Let's go. Cowboys saying, let's grow, Tommy Dukes. And there's Fire-Eyed Darko Rajakovic. I love it. Dap to you, Cowboy. Tommy's saying, Doug Smith always presents the gloom report from Doug Smith. No, I think that he's just frustrated because all y'all and other people in Raptors Nation are being like, where's Koloko? What's going on with Koloko? And he's like, damn it, I got another email question in my mailbag about Koloko. It's every single week. And he's just mad. He's like, get over it. He's not coming back. Dude, stop getting frustrated with the fans. We really like Koloko. We want to know if he's coming back. You're a journalist. You're supposed to know. You're supposed to tell us. Doug Smith, don't get mad at them for asking you over and over again. I'm not mad at them for asking me. Sure, it got tired a little bit last year. Yeah, during the season. What's going on with Koloko? Yeah, it could get a little tiring, but I try not to lose any patience with people. I mean, seriously, you're putting it in print. This is me talking. I could get all mad at people. Stop asking me about Koloko. I don't know. You're getting mad through the print. Why don't you just explain it to people instead of saying, get over him and all this stuff? Seriously, Doug, what is going on with you, man? Seriously, 2 years ago, where is your timeline, bro? I want you to get a cognitive test. Seriously, I want you to get a cognitive test. Yeah. Most saying Tracy McGrady presenting Vince Carter as a Hall of Famer after leaving him in Toronto 24 years ago. Life is a circle. I guess you could say that, Mo. In some ways, I like McGrady a lot. I really, really do. The other guy, the full circle isn't even the team stuff. It's the Hall of Fame for Tracy McGrady. Well, Tracy McGrady was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Who presented him into the Hall of Fame? His cousin, Vince Carter. So it's going to be one hand washed to the other. So it's only right. So Vince is going to get inducted by Tracy. So that's how it is right there. Yeah, you know what? Raptors admin really fucked up yesterday. I'm going to say this right now. Raptors admin, you messed up yesterday. Seriously, come watch me. Come watch me today, Raptors admin. And I'm going to tell you why. You posted a picture of Vince Carter yesterday, and you're trying to be cute, saying waiting for the Raptors season like this. Do you not understand where that picture's from? Do you not understand what that picture symbolizes? You know, you can show Vince Carter all discontented on the bench, but do you understand that's the last season he played for us when he quit on us? And that when you show a disgruntled Vince Carter on the bench like that, all you're doing is reminding the old head fans like me of how shitty he was and how much he quit on us and how he gave the plays to the other teams. And he basically told us he wasn't jumping anymore and that he wasn't trying anymore. And I love to see all the Raptors fans in the comments that are saying the truth about this. Why are y'all putting this bum on blast? Seriously, this guy is a bum. He's a traitor. He traded on us. He gave our plays to the Seattle Sonics in the middle of a game. He told Sean Kemp, hey, we're going to do this pick and roll around the corner with Oakley. And, oh, okay, thanks, Vince. Thanks. What a turncoat. Anybody who has any loyalty or any kind of thing and any love for the Raptors franchise, understand a real one like me saw this happen and was like, yeah, fuck Vince Carter. Fuck Vince Carter. I'll say that over and over again. That motherfucker gave our plays to the other team. He quiet quit on us. And the Raptors admin is going to go ahead and show us a picture of him when he quiet quit on us. Sitting on the bench like, oh, waiting for Raptors seasons. Like, woo, no, that's Vince Carter quiet quitting on us, Raptors admin. You may be too young to understand this, Raptors admin. That picture of Vince Carter is literally right in the middle of when he turned to shit for us. So thanks for reminding me of that about him and giving me an opportunity to put the comments in there saying, yeah, this is when he quit on us. This is when he took the money from the organization, got paid, to when did a little charade in front of the fans in the arena, made all the little kids look up to him, but then he did a really bad role model thing and didn't try on purpose. And then he circled back and told us he didn't in the press, which was absolutely classless. I'm telling you right now, it was disrespectful to our team, and it was a really fed a lot of disrespect towards the Toronto Raptors franchise in the years to come, that their own superstar, the guy that put them on the map, shat all over them when he left. So, yeah, thank you, Raptors admin, for sharing a picture of Vince Carter when he quit on us and reminding the old heads like me, oh, yeah, that's when Vince was a douchebag. And he fucking decided he didn't want to play for the Raptors correctly anymore to force a trade. Yeah, thank you, Raptors admin. You thought you were being cute and being like, oh, we're waiting for the Raptors seasons. Oh, it's like this. No, that's Vince Carter quiet quitting on us and trying to fucking get the fuck out of our city. So, yeah, thank you, Raptors admin, for giving us a little history lesson on the bad side of Vince Carter. Yeah, y'all can love his dunks. You can love his highlights. If y'all don't remember the bad shit about him, you don't have a fully formed opinion about him, is what I will say right here. That's right. That's right. Most saying ceremony is October the 12th and 13th. That's the Hall of Fame ceremony when Vince will be inducted into the Naismith Hall of Fame, and rightfully so. Listen, I don't discount that he's important to basketball. I don't discount that he's important to basketball in Canada. I just say he's a dunk artist. I don't think that he's a legitimate competitive NBA player. He might as well have been a glorified Harlem Globetrotter, as far as I'm concerned. Seriously, in some ways, that's the way I look at him. He would have been better off with the Harlem Globetrotters in some ways, maybe traveling the world and doing his little dunks and tricks and stuff like that. In some ways, once again, I will always say Vince Carter was sizzle. He was not steak. Michael Jordan is steak and Vince Carter is sizzle. And it's all, ooh, it's a nice, and ooh, that's so cool. Into the, oh, yeah, that's so cool. Yeah. But yeah, did that motherfucker win anything in the NBA? No, he didn't. So that's what I'll say about that. That's right there. Yeah. Cowboys saying we got Trevor J. We got Uncle St. David. That's right. We got Eye Candy. We got Kareem. We got Isaac, the farmer. We got Sheriff. We got the future is bright all day, every day. There you go, Cowboy. I love that. All right. I love it. All right. I'm going to give you a dunk for naming the roster here. Really, 110, Cowboy. You're at 110 dunks for the Canadian Cowboy. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, let's see. Tommy's got a crystal ball on the Cowboy. He's seeing something in there in the future in the emoticon language. He's seeing championship trophies like this one right here. This Larry O'Brien right here. Yeah. Let's get a second one, Raptors. Let's get a second one, Scotty. Let's get a second Toronto Raptors championship in the NBA. That's right, baby. Yeah. Kareem saying alley-oop to Neon Moon. Yeah, I just got him. He's at 110. Nako's here. Good to see Gerald. Off topic, Doug Smith is an uncharismatic name for a journalist. It's a very normal name. It's like John Smith almost. John Smith, Doug Smith. Hi, Doug Smith, John Smith. He has to worry about getting confused for people. There was literally an NBA player named Doug Smith that was on the Raptors for a little while. Yeah. We had Doug Smith on our team for a brief second. the player that was from Dallas. Yeah, you're exactly right, Nako. In some ways, look, I want to respect Doug Smith and like him, but every once in a while he's out of pocket with some stupid ass shit, Armani Brooks. So yeah, in some ways, look, I love the We the North book. You did a good job with that. In some ways, your fuckery with Vince Carter and the stuff I'm just talking about, that's a part of the thing I hold against you too. But the fact that you've been with the team since the beginning and been covering the team for a long, long time is important. You are a main historian for the Raptors franchise. But also at the same time, you're full of shit. And you do have some of the tendencies of Toronto sports media and just Canadian media in general. And I get it. In some ways, like I said, because you've been so long standing covering the Raptors, in some ways, I wonder how much you do the work of the NBA head office in some of your messaging is what I'm saying. And maybe he got a message from Adam Silver and he wanted him to say this about Koloko to let down the Raptors nation easy. And say, yeah, they're getting to all about getting Koloko. I don't want them to be disappointed, Doug. Can you write in your mailbag that he's not coming back? Because we're not ever going to let the Raptors have Christian Koloko back for some reason. And I'm not going to tell you now. Maybe I'll tell you on Sunday. Why? That's right. Dana's saying good morning to everybody. Good morning to Canadian Dana. She's got the Raptor head in there. I love it. Everyone slam dunk that button. Thank you, Cowboy. I appreciate that. And TGIF, Friday the 13th, y'all. Let's have a good weekend. Let's get out there and do it. There's something going on with the weather in Ontario and Quebec in the next month or so. We're getting extended summer. The weather people have declared that September is going to be just like August. We're going to have a hot September right on into probably the mid October. And this is just a phenomena of the shifting seasons because of climate change. And right now, everything's shifted 1 month later, if you haven't noticed. It's like summer extends into October now. And winter comes late. It's not coming until January. So this is great news. This is fantastic news. Y'all want good news? Well, we're going to have summer weather for another month, y'all, still. And that's from the weather station saying this. There's something called a Rex block. And it has to do with high pressure situations and low pressure and the way it sits. So we're going to have extended summer, y'all. So this weather that we've had recently, that was a little cooler. Well, that was just a taste and it's not going to stick. And we're going to have a nice, warm September into October, just so y'all know. There you go. There's the weather report real quick. I don't know why I'm doing the weather. Seymour said, ta-da, dap to you, Seymour Pape, holding it down in the Calgary. That's right. We always love to see the city slicker. Cowboys saying Doug Smith gets the 2-finger salute. All right, we'll do that. That's for you, Doug, this morning. How do you know? What are you saying? 2 years ago? What is wrong with you? Seriously, you think it happened 2 years ago? No, you can go look at his page. It'll say he was waived by the Raptors in January of 2024. That's 8 months ago, Doug. 8 months ago. Maybe your life has been so tumultuous and crazy, it seems like it was 2 years ago for you. Yeah, no, it was 8 months ago, you idiot. Let's see. Most saying Drew Jones and the coaching staff had a coaches retreat last night. Yeah, I saw the pictures that you posted in the Facebook chat. That's awesome. We see Leftwich and Jamil and the other guys with him. Yeah, I'm wondering, though, he needs to maybe get a female on the staff. I'm serious. In some ways, it looks like a boys' club. And maybe when they're hiring through LinkedIn this week, maybe they will hire a woman to the team, because in some ways, that's a good look right now. In some ways, that's a very good look. And in some ways, it's also, it's part of diversity in some ways. So I would say that maybe they should look at that. They are still going to hire one more coach. But yeah, that's interesting, Mo. I like you posting that picture. I appreciate it in the Facebook chat. You guys are so helpful in there. Yeah, I see that Wendy Sparks has posted something about Ken Birch. And what else is in here? DeMar DeRozan on Good Morning America with Michael Strahan. You guys are just dropping all the knowledge on us in the Facebook chat. And if you want access to the Raptor Freak Facebook chat official, you got to join the channel, and membership has its privileges. You'll get access to our 24/7 news breaking Facebook chat, where we are always bringing the latest news of the Raptors that is happening right away. Commissioner Jay and Monique are all stars at this. They are always posting good stuff in there. I'm trying to contribute also at the same time. That's right. Yeah. Let's see. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam, and happy Friday. Good morning to you, MJ. Always happy to see you in the chat in the morning. Smooth saying, as much as I don't like Doug Smith, most times he gets it right. Well, this is interesting because I've heard this from two different people now, from him and also from somebody who works at the arena. And they said that they're pretty positive that he will never, ever play in the NBA ever again from what they know. And in some ways, I was trying to say, but I've heard that his own doctors cleared him. And she's just saying, well, I know this is just what I've heard, that the people, my sources in the MLSE working at the arena have told me that they don't think he's ever going to be able to play ever again in the NBA. Not for the Raptors, not for anybody. So that's the tough thing. And maybe there is some knowledge that Doug knows as a journalist, but he won't reveal it. Maybe he legally can't because of the situation. But yeah, I don't know. In some ways, this is one of those times where I don't want Doug to be right. I don't want Doug to be right. And we'll just have to see how it plays out. Now, if he turns around and it is true what he said, well, then in some ways, I'm not above apologizing and saying, okay, Doug Smith was right, except for when he said he was cut 2 years ago. He's wrong no matter what. Let's just say that. He's wrong because he's wrong about when he got waived, but he may be right about the truth about the outcome for him, which is too bad. Always good to see Smooth in the chat. Seymour saying, well, Stephen A. Smith turned down his huge contract. Sounds like Doug Smith trying to get the stateside bag. Nah, if he was trying to do that, he would have done that a long time ago. Doug's getting up there. It's not like he's trying to start a new phase of his career at his age. No, he's perfectly fine in his spot where he is. He's not trying to move anywhere else. He's the lead writer for the Toronto Raptors on the Toronto Star. And in some ways, that's a spot that he's been in since the Raptors have existed in 30 years. So, no, I don't think he's trying to go down the States. I think that he's, in some ways, Doug is trying to be a reporter. He does try and get the facts straight. But in this one, I don't know if he's exactly right. We'll have to see. In some ways, he doesn't know for sure. He's, as far as I know, he hasn't been cleared. See, he doesn't know. He's even admitting it in his statement. And when he wrote that in the mailbag, he says, as far as I know, he hasn't been cleared. He doesn't know. So he's admitting it. And just like me, I don't know either, but we can talk about it. That's right. Nako's saying, I'd love for Koloko to come back, but it wouldn't heartbreak me if he didn't. He's talking like Koloko wasn't getting offers from other teams when he was. This comes off as mean. Yeah, I don't know. Doug Smith, I don't know. I think he's just got fatigue about people bothering him about asking about Koloko for a long time now. I think that's what it is. It may even be why he said 2 years, is because it seems like it's been 2 years, the amount of people sending him messages about it. I don't know. I think that Doug Smith has been mean at times. He was mean to Armani Brooks. Yeah, but I don't think this is the case here. I mean, who knows? It's probably the truth is somewhere in between what I'm perceiving and what Doug is perceiving. It's probably somewhere in between. Yeah, Seymour saying, happy Freak Friday. Freaks don't go out like Shannon Sharp freaks. Yeah, he's freaking live and publicly. Yeah, don't go out like Shannon Sharp freaking. Yeah, okay, that's good advice, Seymour. Words of wisdom from the sheriff, Seymour Pape. We don't always get words of wisdom from him, but he's saying don't go out like Shannon Sharp this morning. That's his words of wisdom. All right, Leo Routen's words of wisdom this morning. Sometimes you just got to breathe and reboot. There you go. I love that, Leo. I love that so much. It's right. Take a moment, pause, reflect, and just take in your surroundings and kind of take a gratitude check and just remember what you're grateful for or thankful for. Of course, we had that great wisdom this week saying, get up every morning and think about the things you're most grateful for, your life, the loved ones, the things in your life, like a roof over your head and, all kinds of different things. There's always something to be grateful for. And when you are grateful for things, they multiply. That's this big secret to success and happiness is right there. Is right there. Yeah. Cowboys laughing. G saying, Doug, doom and gloom Smith. Yeah, I don't know. What's wrong, Doug? Did you drink too much at the bar last night? You hung over when you did the mailbag. Is that what happened last Saturday? You went out and you're like, I'm in a bad mood because I didn't drink any water before I went to bed. I'm getting too old for this crap. My body is getting deteriorated from my alcoholism. Listen, I don't want to joke about it, Doug. I just know the truth. In some ways, this is an important part of your life, is hitting the bar late at night. And in some ways, I would say sometimes you may be cranky when you get up in the morning because you're hungover. And that may be why he wrote it this way, because it does sound like a hungover, angry man here, doesn't it? Like, let's read it again from that stats. Everyone needs to move on from Koloko. Really? As far as I'm concerned, I know he's not cleared to return. Like, it's an aggressive writing. It's like he's really upset and annoyed that people keep asking him. That's what it sounds like to me. Yeah, Seymour saying Doug Sham Smith. You call him Shams? Wow. Tommy's saying, I trust Doug as much as his buddy Bob McCowan. I bet you're right. He probably is yapping just to stay consistent, just avoiding the sunshine as always. Who knows? In some ways, he doesn't. And I don't either. And I'll be willing to admit that. But I'm trying to look at all the tea leaves. I'm trying to look at for the signs, Ace of Base. And and in some ways, I see the signs on Basketball Reference. I see the signs when I see Koloko on Instagram running up and down the court like he's healthy, 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 and nothing's wrong with him. Yikes. Kareem's saying Doug Smith needs to retire. He's terrible at his job and doesn't seem to enjoy it. He's clearly miserable, and the majority of the fan base can't stand him. His negativity is really insufferable. Well, Kareem's going an extra mile on this, and I'm not going to disagree with anything he's saying here. I think that the younger generations of Raptors fans don't appreciate Doug Smith as much as older fans. In some ways, Doug Smith had an instrumental part in Raptors Nation as far as he was part of the teaching of basketball to this nation through his articles. Just like Leo Routens and Jack Armstrong were teaching basketball on the TV. Well, Doug Smith had a bit of the education for us as a nation on what this sport is. And, that was helpful at those times. But in some ways, I don't know. At times, he tried to be a jokester a couple of years ago when Twitter was out there, and he tried to be funny, and I called him out on it, and he stopped. In some ways, he's not making the funny little tweets anymore that he used to, because in some ways I called him out. I said, you're a journalist. You have an integrity. You have to be telling the truth, and you can't make snarky jokes that can be misinterpreted as you reporting, because you will confuse things. And that's exactly what happened with the Armani Brooks situation. He made a funny joke about Armani Brooks and whether he's getting cut or signed and stuff like that. And it did some damage. And he learned a tough lesson on that one. So in some ways, I don't know. Doug's an old man in a new world, and there's new technology, and he's had a learning curve in a way. He had a learning curve about Twitter. He has had a learning curve about social media. So I don't know. In some ways, I agree. He's negative. In some ways, this is negative, but he may be right. We have to be willing to understand that he may be exactly right on this also. Now, I don't think he's right about Koloko not wanting to come back to Toronto. I think that option is very much on the table for him and Rich Paul and Clutch, that he's not turned his back on Toronto. And in some ways, Doug's trying to say in his statement that Koloko is upset with us because we waived him. He may have been initially confused and upset, but I don't think he held a grudge, and he has to understand the whole situation. And I'm sure Masai, if he's doing his job correctly, which I'm sure he is, he made it very clear to Christian where the Raptors stand with him and how they feel about him. So, I know that's true. I know that's true right there. Let's see. Trevor's saying Malik Williams gets invited to training camp for the Miami Heat. Yeah, they're going to bring in Malik Williams down there. Good luck with that. In some ways, Malik Williams of Louisville, he was a total disaster for the Raptors last year. I would say there was not much there that I liked about him. You go ahead, Miami. You give him a tryout now. Yeah. Fiercey saying Doug Smith is trash. Okay. Brian saying, what's up, Freak Nation? F Doug Smith. He talks too much like a bitch report and others. Like bitch report and others. Good morning to you, Brian. Y'all check out To The Point. It's a YouTube channel here on YouTube about the Raptors and other basketball stuff. Definitely check out Brian's channel, T.O. The Point. It's seriously good stuff. Y'all check it out. And Brian's birthday is tomorrow, y'all. So tomorrow, happy birthday to Brian. He's going to be 44, y'all. Seriously. Fiercey's saying, hey, Brian, good work on your channel. See, there you go. Fiercey's enjoying it. She subbed up. Y'all should get subbed up to The Point. Fiercey's saying, Lex worried about Doug Smith is pure comedy. I am a little worried about him. I'm being like, seriously, what's going on? Are you living a weird long life or something? Years for you? I mean, it has been a really crazy political year with all kinds of crazy stuff, a circus down south. And there have been like different things that have happened. A lot has happened, a lot of change. Pascal Siakam and OG aren't on our team anymore. Does that feel like that was 2 years ago, Doug, when that happened, when we traded them? Because we traded them and then we waived Christian Koloko. So you can understand the event sequence, because I don't think you do. I'm a little worried about him. Nako's saying, good news. Advanced stats love Yak, one of the best defensive centers. Yak attack. Well, I could have told you that. The only reason why people are down on Yak is because he doesn't shoot the three. And these people are all saying, oh, if you can't shoot the three in today's league, you're suck and you're not good anymore. That's bullshit. There's so many players that didn't have to shoot the three in the history of the NBA, and they were perfectly fine. In some ways, everybody's saying, oh, to get into club NBA, you have to shoot the three nowadays. That's crazy talk. Seriously. Jakob is so extremely efficient, and he's also an excellent passer for his size, and he is a blocker. He will block the hell out of people, and we know he will rebound like crazy too. So, yeah, I could see this. The advanced stats loves Jakob Poeltl. I love him, and I can feel it. I feel the efficiency when I watch him and I see his stat line after the game. That's right. Let's see, David's saying Doug Smith can't even remember to put his teeth in before he goes to media availability for interviews. He's a donkey. Wow. All right. Now we're just like insulting him. David has done this, and that's fine. He's a commissioner of trivia. We'll allow it. But this also means we're going to do the classic card. 942. He's called them a donkey. That's crazy. That is crazy, David. That maybe go a little too far. Your name calling him. All right. I've done that card before. I've seen that card. That's weird. It's a duplicate. Let me make sure I get the right one. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to do that one either. I feel like I've done that guy too recently. Yeah. Who the hell is that? Okay, that's a good sign. If I'm saying who the hell is that, this one may take a little while. All right, here we go. Here's the classic card of the day. Y'all tell me who this is, please. Please tell me who this is. I should actually look at their name so I know what their name is. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's who that is. All right, guys, who is that? You can see a Seattle Sonics jersey, so that kind of gives you the time period. And he is a Hawk, obviously. But who is that Hawk? Who is that Hawk on the classic card of the day? Get some trivia points from Commissioner of Trivia, Commissioner of Trivia David, and the card is from Commissioner of Fun, Trevor J, commissioning this card, classic card of the day. David will adjudicate. Let's see if anybody's got a guess. Let's see. Yeah, I see you guys talking about 2K. We'll talk about that when I get to that in the comments. But anybody got a guess on the classic card of the day? Who is that guy? I'll even get it right up close. We can see who it is. Kind of looks like the guy I was talking about that was on Up in Smoke this week, but it isn't him. That is not him for sure. Man, this may be a tough one. This may be a tough one. Yeah, nobody has any idea. You know what I would say? Seymour's very close in his statement there. Like Seymour's saying, you have 2K 225, Andrew. That's a clue right there. I'm going to say that right now because Seymour said that words. Look in there and you'll see that that is the right name, maybe. Yeah, Smooth. Where is Smooth? Smooth is here, but in some ways, this may not be his expertise because this is not a Houston Rocket. So let's see. Marvin Williams. That's too recent, Andrew. That's too recent. That is Marvin Williams is too recent for this card. This guy is in the 90s, and Marvin Williams was more in 2010s. Let's see. Marcus Camby. That's an interesting guess. That's not right, Seymour. This guy's shorter. This guy plays guard forward, just so you know. This guy is not a big guy. This is holy crap. All right, Kareem, right? Let me see. I can't see it because it's behind the little heart emoticon. Are you saying the name? Because you might have just said the name in there. Is that what I think it is? Somebody write another comment in real quick. Just somebody, anybody. I can't read Kareem's answer. Yeah, okay, he did say it right. So yeah, that is Andrew Lang. So it will be Kareem, even though he's asking a question. Didn't Andrew Lang play for the Knicks? Well, he might have at some point, but yeah, this is him on the Hawks. And that is the answer, Andrew Lang. Oh, he's center. He is a center. I thought he was a guard forward for some reason. He is a center. So yeah, I don't know. David, will we give it to Kareem? Because he, in some ways, he didn't half-ass it. He more than full-assed it. He wrote it in a whole sentence in a question. I don't know what you call that. That's like full ass with the trimmings and the sprinkles or something like that. I don't know. 150 points to Kareem Thomas is the official decree by the Commissioner of Trivia, David Saborin. So Andrew Lang is the classic card of the day. That is a pretty obscure classic card, honestly. Pretty obscure. And Seymour, I see you. I see you right behind him. I see you right behind him. All right, where were we in the chat? Let me go back to David's first statement talking about Doug Smith, the donkey. Guardian Transit saying Doug Smith's full of goo. Goo. That sounds gross. That sounds really gross, Guardian Transit. Yeah, good to see you, by the way. Always good to see Guardian Transit return to the chat. Cowboy saying Brian in the house. That's right. And if you all want to go to Brian's birthday party tomorrow, he's having a barbecue birthday party over on the west side near Bathurst, St. and Lawrence, somewhere around there. I think like Bathurst and Lawrence, west, where his party is. And if you guys want to find out where it is, I can try and find out the details and we can let you guys know where it's at. And you guys can go and hang out with Brian tomorrow at his birthday barbecue. Let's see. Seymour saying dunk for David. Yeah, we'll do a dunk for David just for being a great commissioner and always adjudicating nicely. So we'll say we'll say a 3-point dunker, 198. David, you're almost to 200. Almost to 200. There you go. Dap. Jakob, that's right. Our big guy from Austria, The only player in the NBA ever from Austria. This is true. Nobody else has ever played in the NBA from Austria except for Jakob Poeltl. He's the first player to play from Austria, and he's the only one. There's nobody who's come after him. So, yeah, Kareem saying Smith's mailbags are the least informative Raps reporting there is. He's just responding off the top of his head without doing any research or even just basic fact checking. Shannon must have hacked him. I'm glad. I don't listen. We don't need a Doug Smith IG live like Shannon Sharp's. No, we don't. No, we don't. And Fiercey's like throwing up in her mouth right now. Seriously. No, we don't. We don't need any of that. Fiercey's like having images of Gary Trent Sr. in the sauna thinking about that. No, we don't. We don't need on that. No, we don't. No, we don't. Cowboys laughing about that too. Yeah. Let's see. I mean, I agree with Kareem about this, that, in some ways it's not him getting his research together and writing an article. It's just him answering questions from the fans in the mailbag. In some ways, I don't know. He's like, he says he's debunking a Koloko return in his title to his mailbag. He said debunking a Koloko return to Toronto. Well, I don't really think you debunked it. I think you just kind of like stated some things and you were factually incorrect. And some of it, I'm going to lean on this every single time that you said that we cut him 2 years ago. Doug, man, I'm worried about you, bro. Seriously. He was not even in the league 2 years ago at this time. Seriously. What the fuck? You saying we cut him before he started his rookie year? Oh, Doug, what time and space continuum are you living on, my guy? Seriously, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. Smooth saying Malik Williams has no skill, man. He's awful. The black Rafael Harujo. Man, that's a old school reference of Raptors. And you know what? I'm not disagreeing with this. I think Smooth's exactly right with this moniker in some ways. It's like, listen, Arujo was just as useless. And I'm totally with him on this. When I was watching him out there, like, look, all right, if you're a big man in the league, you need to rebound at least. If you are a big size guy, you have to pull down rebounds. This guy couldn't even rebound. This guy, Malik Williams, when he showed up on our teams, 38 dunks for Smooth, getting a 3-pointer on that one. Yeah. I mean, seriously, he couldn't even rebound. That's the one main thing a power forward center needs in this league is you need to go get the rebounds. He was horrible at rebounding. I couldn't even believe how bad he was at rebounding. I needed him to get up there and get those rebounds while Jakob was out. No, that man was, I don't know. He was doing cardio. Let's just put it that way. He was doing some cardio this year for the Raptors. That's right. Cowboys saying Doug Smith is like Harris, all talk, but no walk. Let's go. You better not be talking about the presidential candidate, the vice president of the United States. You better be talking about somebody else named Harris. And if you want to go this way with me, Cowboy, I will go off on you once again. Listen, she has way more talk than her opponent. She has real plans. She has real ideas. And if you're falling for this, Cowboy, your IQ, in my mind, is lowering and lowering every day, that you continue to follow a fake-ass, egocentric narcissist that wannabe dictator named Donald Trump. Cowboy, I'm so disappointed in you. I think that your IQ, I'm actually wondering how much of a dumbass you are at this point. Because if you're still with the MAGA people, if you're still going with that camp, I'm worried about you, man. I got to put you on the list with Doug Smith. I'm worried about Cowboys' cognitive decline all of a sudden, too. Because, listen, Kamala Harris has real programs, real policies, real ideas, and she's going to work for all of the country. And she's going to be president. And I don't care what you think because you're a Canadian cowboy. You're not an American cowboy. So you have no skin in this race other than just talk shit in my stream. You're going to just get hate from me. So I would just advise you, cowboy, save the politics. Don't bring it in here because I'm going to slam dunk it in your face. And in some ways, if you want to continue to antagonize me like this, well, I'm going to just keep telling you that you are following a billionaire wannabe dictator that has a gold toilet, and you are just as stupid as the people that sent him money for a Bible. So I'll say that right there. You are a dumbass, cowboy. And I will never, ever promote your company on my channel ever again because you have decided to turn into a little dumbass MAGA head. So there you go, Cowboy Bradley. You can come in here and share our love on the Raptors Freaks. You can talk about Raptors all day. But when you start talking about the election or anything to do with it right now, I am going to continue to come at you with the same energy. So it's your choice. I'll give you a clean slate every morning, Bradley. If you don't bring up politics, if you don't bring up your asinine, stupid, dumb-ass opinions, I will not talk this way to you. But if you do continue to bring shit like this up, well, I'm going to fucking slam in your face, and I'll put my nuts on your head, actually, when I do it. So there you go, Bradley. I'm really worried about you. I'm going to take an appointment for you and Doug Smith. We need both of y'all to get your brain scanned. How about that? How about that? There you go. There you go. There you go, Bradley. And if you don't like that, fuck you. How about that? You get the 2-finger salute, and I'll show that one on TV. That's right. That's right. All right, let's see. Trevor's saying we do those hairstyles. We call them fantasy just to show. So you do the flock of seagulls with the little wave over the sides like this. Man, those 80s hairstyles were wild. You need a lot of product to keep that hair in structure, right, Trevor? So you like doing that kind of stuff. Like it'll make somebody's head look like a bird. It's pretty cool. I like that, actually. Smooth saying AJ Griffin walking away from the game in his 20s. Wow. Yeah, that's the rumor right now. He's 21 years old, and he's seriously considering retirement right now. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And I got to wonder how much of that has to do with his father and the year that he has had. Seriously. Smooth saying Houston was such a great fit for him. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, the Rockets fans are upset about this. They don't like this. They're actually coming out on social media and saying things like, "Don't do it, AJ. Just come in. You're fine. You'll be fine. Just stay with us." But in some ways, it's the confidence thing with him. I think it's a confidence thing, and he may not feel like he belongs in the NBA. Maybe partly because of how the raw done dirty deal that was done to his dad. Seriously. Yeah, Fiercely saying AJ's been inconsistent on the Hawks roster the past few years. Also sent to G League at times. Hoping he's not struggling with mental health. I've seen signs sending love and light their way. Yeah, same thing here. Like, once again, Griffin family's always good with us here in Toronto. Really always will be. Adrien, listen, you may have felt like you're a Bucks family, but they did you wrong. But you will always be good up here. Trust me. You will always be good up here with the Raptors. You're a Raptors champion, and you got a championship ring with us. So, yeah, that's an amazing thing right there. Brian saying at Fiercey, thank you humbly, and Freak Nation. You are all more than welcome to my birthday barbecue tomorrow. Awesome, Brian. That's so kind of you. And awesome. 44. He's got that Jerry West going on tomorrow. He's the logo. Brian's going into his logo year. Yeah, that's awesome, Brian. All right, let's see. Cowboys saying, since we are on hair, I still can't believe my oldest son, best friend, cut Ulrich Shamshay's hair. I'm going to get a signature soon. Big up to Ivan Fades. That's pretty cool. That is very cool. That I remember when that happened. That was like right after we drafted him. So it was pretty right away that he got his haircut there. That is pretty cool. I have to admit that. Seymour saying, bring back coaches like Bobby Knight. Not exactly like Bobby Knight. Like the stories about Brendan Malone in the first year of the Raptors are crazy. He was like one of those kind of abusive, crazy coaches. I mean, Dominique's talking about Mike Fratello on All the Smoke. He's saying that Mike Fratello called him a motherfucker and called him all these kind of names. And he thought Mike hated him. He's like, man, I always thought Mike Fratello hated me because of the way he would treat me sometimes when he was my coach on the Hawks. But at one point we had a little side to side and he said, listen, this is just me being tough on you to try and get more out of you. And it's not personal. And then after that, I understood and I never fought with him then. I can remember this as a kid. The stories and murmurs of Coach Fratello and Dominique Wilkins not getting along on the Atlanta Hawks in the mid 80s. And this was probably a lot of what this was that Mike Fratello was very like passionate in some ways, as Dominique said in the All the Smoke interview, that he would be there for his team, at all points. And it was true. You'd see the old footage of old Hawks games and there's a skirmish. Mike Fratello is like a little short coach out there in the middle of the players trying to get involved and like stop things. He was very passionate standing up for his team, very passionate about coaching, Coach Fratello. But Dominique thought he hated him because he was calling him all these curse words all the time and really hard on him to push him further to be better. You know, you can't do that anymore. It's kind of a symptom of just parenting also. It used to be back then, you know, you could kind of punish your kids, whether it was corporal punishment or, you know, in some ways we're more aware of mental health and like being abusive towards people. And maybe, yeah, Bobby Knight's technique was abusive and did mental harm to some people in the past. But where's the middle ground? In some ways, you can't, if you're completely like domineering and mean and angry like the old basketball coaches, but now you got to be a babysitter and kind of babysit egos and kind of in some ways you have to like walk on eggshells around the superstars on your team. Like, let's ask Coach Griff about that and what he had to do with the Bucks last year around Giannis and Damian Lillard and those guys. I mean, where is it? There should be a middle ground. The coach should be able to try and motivate the team and kind of have an edge and kind of have some anger to a certain point. Like, how does Darko balance this? I mean, you can see Darko can be very intense, and I'm sure he can be very emphatic. Now, he's probably not dropping curse words on people, but he may be very much coming at different players on the Raptors and being very much, you need to do it like this. And then if you do it like this and you do it like this, he could probably raise his voice a bit. But that's what I'm saying. In some ways, do we chop the nuts off not only in the game for physicality, but also for the coaches to be, tough disciplinarians and accountable coaches for what they expect from their team. That's the interesting thing about that whole thing right there is what I'd say right there. Yeah. Hands-on approach, indeed. What chairs on approach? Bobby Knight. That man was always throwing chairs. He was always throwing chairs. Smooth saying that 350,000 in 1984 is 100 million. It was 1 million in today's economy. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, seriously, if we looked at the career earnings of Dominique Wilkins, it would shock people. So let's go do that real quick. I know where to look for it. So I'll go look at it real quick, and we'll tell you guys exactly how much Dominique Wilkins made in his entire NBA career. His whole entire NBA career. I can give you the total. I know how much he made his whole entire career because they have it on Basketball Reference. And here we go. Dominique Wilkins made just about 23.6 million the whole entire year, all the time he played. He played 15 years, y'all. 15 years. He made 23.6 million. 23.6 million. There's how many guys in the league right now making more than that just this year? Seriously, he made for 15 years of NBA service 23.6 million. That's it. Isn't that crazy? Brian's saying, you're right, Lex. I find it harder coaching 11 years and younger now than 30-year-olds. It's partly because it's like you got to pussyfoot around them a little bit. Like you got to worry about like treating kids a certain way where they're upset or crying to their parents, and then all of a sudden you're in trouble. In some ways it's not like it used to be. Coaches could be like stern and kind of be, well, son, that's your coach. You need to listen to him. That's what I was like when I was a kid. But now it's like parents can be like, I'm watching you, coach. And if you treat my kid wrong or you don't start him, they can start trouble. So it's weird because people that would normally do that job are turned off from doing it. It's a similar kind of thing for teachers in schools. It's like tough because the parents are coming at them with all kinds of weird shit these days. And all they're trying to do is just teach their kids. And in some ways, teachers have to become parents in the absence of the parents. And it's a tough job. It's a tough job all around. Being a coach or a teacher is a very tough job because there's a lot of different things involved in it for sure. Yeah, Brian, I applaud you for being a youth coach. I really, really do. Kareem saying the Milwaukee Bucks hired Adrien and put him on 3-month probation period. I'm sure their evaluations were good, but Giannis and company don't like to be coached. After the chip, things were not the same. This is probably why they'll never win again, is because in some ways they needed Budenholzer. They needed to not have gotten to there. And in some ways, Budenholzer had the right kind of drive in the right ways for Giannis to push him. And that year was the right year that opened things up and Milwaukee could get the championship. But in some ways, this may be the case where Giannis gets one and he's good. He's good. He may be a one-time champion. And it's partly because of his own personality and who he is that he doesn't understand to get the second one. You have to go even further and harder. And in some ways, he may be misdirecting his trying to control getting to the second cup in the wrong ways by controlling who's the personnel. It may very well be that Giannis is making LeBron mistakes right now. That's what I would say right now. And that may be very much the symptom of why the Milwaukee Bucks have had a decline and they're not really doing right. The whole thing about getting Lillard last year was a backfire. That was a mess up. They should have always kept Drew Holiday. Champions right now. And, Lillard was a downgrade over Holiday. I said that when it happened. I said, what are y'all doing? You're getting rid of one of the best defensive guards in the league for a guy who honestly has never won jack shit. And yeah, it came out exactly how I thought. The Bucks, they had a downgrade. They had a worse year. And Drew Holiday went on to something bigger and better things. And the Celtics got the spoils of it, which is so messed up, man. So messed up. And just saying, good morning, everyone. 23 days until preseason is that MJ number, that Fred VanVleet. We got that Freddie Vivi number of days left till a season, Andrew. Wow. I was using your name as a clue for the classic card today. It's like, there's the clue is Andrew. That's right. Andrew Lang. That's like I was saying. Yeah, that's what I was trying to do is Andrew is the clue. Blackhawk saying AJ is taking a break, but it may be difficult for him to get back in the league. I'm going to give AJ an open mind as his rookie year didn't look great. So this may be an adjustment thing. I thought he's looked great. Like maybe my image of him is partly because of that one game where they beat us and he hit the big shot and it absolutely killed us. And that one game we shouldn't have lost to Atlanta, that 2 years ago, the last year of Nick. Yeah. That's part of what makes me think about AJ. But in some ways, maybe there's been a lot more to his odyssey in the NBA so far that's not totally positive. But yeah, him hitting a game winner against us in that overtime game, yeah, that sucked. And I was like, damn, AJ Griffin. That may be part of the reason why we value him more than other people around the NBA is because of what he did to the Raptors in that one game. Yeah, salute to Andrew. I like that. Brian's saying can't really blame Vince. The Raptors took the first shot at his mom, which wasn't public, so he quit on us. Yeah, I don't know. I can blame Vince, Brian, because I'll say this once again: two wrongs don't make a right. And once again, I'll say this: if one person does you wrong, that's up to you whether you want to do people wrong the other way. It's a reflection of yourself. In some ways, it's best to just be the bigger person. And in this situation, he's a public figure. And in some ways, he may have been done wrong by one person in the organization or something like that. I don't even believe this shit. I think Michelle Carter's a busybody and she's a little pushy and she's a little controlling. That's what Charles Oakley said. So anything that has to do with Michelle Carter, I'm not taking her side because in some ways she's the mother of an NBA player. And in some ways she meddled way too much when she was around the Raptors. And in some ways, I'm not taking any concessions for her. I'm sorry. This is the thing. He could have been treated badly by people, but if he had done things the right way and came out in the right way, that's more of a reflection of his character. The fact that he did not try on purpose on the team and he subterfuged and all that kind of stuff, you know what? That's wrong. If he wanted to, he should have worked better with the front office in a way where he didn't have to do that and he still got moved. He could have done it that way, but he strong-armed shit. He had to do things really tacky way. He shaved points off his points average on purpose, and he gave our game plan to the other team. These are unforgivable sins, Brian. I'm sorry. That's a turncoat. That's a Benedict Arnold, and I can't. You can stand up for Vince all you want, but I'm the one place, maybe one of the few places in Raptors social media that is actually very much trying to tell the truth about Vince and keep it on the record because everybody wants to forget about the bad blemishes in history. Oh, sure. People will forget about Tulsa if they could down in the United States. But no, people like Trevor J and myself need to keep reminding people that Tulsa happened. And in some ways, we can have a rosy picture of Vince Carter and his history with the Raptors, and you can conveniently leave it out for the youngsters so they never know that history. But not me. No, I will make sure they know the whole story. And you know what? I don't have to say this shit about Alvin Williams. I don't have to say this shit about Charles Oakley. I don't have to say this shit about the JYD. But I do have to say this shit about Vince. So, any one of those guys could have done something similar, some sort of way and stuff like that. Vince Carter quiet quit on us, and he deserves to be remembered for that also, not just the great dunks. And that's just the damn truth. I'm sorry. Yeah. Most saying, saw your comments on that post, Lex. Yeah. I want to make sure that is out there, that people see, that side of things. Look, I think Vince is an amazing NBA player. I think he's an amazing dunker. I really, truly believe he is the greatest dunker in the history of the NBA. But I also don't think he was a good Raptor. And that can all be all the same things. Seriously, I do understand that he is absolutely essential to growth in Canada of basketball. But in some ways, I can celebrate that, but I don't necessarily have to celebrate his Raptors career. And that's what putting a jersey up in the rafters is celebrating the career of that player in that jersey. And there's things about his career in that jersey that are not to celebrate. In fact, they're dishonorable and they are a travesty. So I can't do it. His body of work is not clean. It's not clean. He has a very tarnished record with us. And that's why I would never, ever endorse him to have his 15 retired in our rafters. I wouldn't do that for Bosch either. I wouldn't put that number 4 up there for Bosch either. So that's just me. I'm a longtime Raptors fan since the very beginning. And some of the younger fans that weren't there and don't understand it because they weren't cognizant or that big of a Raptors fan at that time, well, you don't understand exactly. And the media and the Raptors organization are not going to paint that picture of him because obviously they don't want to. But an independent broadcaster like me will set the record straight. And the old heads will remember this. A lot of y'all will. I listen, I don't wish bad things for Vince. I want Vince to be happy. I'm glad he's going to the Hall of Fame. I'm glad he's going to the Hall of Fame as a Raptor. But I still think he's a turncoat. And all the pain and all the things he did to our franchise, it's like I've said in the past. He built a beautiful sandcastle on a beach with his dunk contest and the things he did for the Raptors, putting us on NBC on Sundays. doing all kinds of great things, building our franchise up. He built a beautiful, ornate, giant sandcastle on the beach. But at the end of after he built it, he kicked it down. He kicked it down himself. He ruined the beautiful thing he built, and he's pissed all over it. Honestly, he kicked it down, and then he pissed all over it. And in some ways, that's not setting a culture. That's not setting a foundation for our franchise that he should have. It was very selfish. And you can ask DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry what building a culture and building a franchise and a foundation for success is in the Raptors franchise, because those are the two guys that did it truly. Those are the two guys that did it for real. And DeMar should be very proud of what he created here in Toronto with Terrence Ross and Amir Johnson, number 15, Amir Johnson, and Kyle Lowry. And that's the difference right there, Brian. And I'm sorry, that's my opinions on it right there. That's it. Seymour saying, I love my Vince Carter jersey more than I like Vince Carter. You know, in some ways, that's cool. I mean, they are a nice throwback, and they really are a really, really cool, popular jersey in the NBA world. And I don't have a problem with that. I really, really don't. I really, really don't. Stargate saying, Doug Smith is so out of touch with today's basketball environment, he doesn't even realize his sources have been trolling him for about 8 years now. Stargate's hilarious. Good to see Stargate checking in, the man in the machine. That's right. Yeah, I mean, who knows? I don't know the truth. Nobody does. I want to know what Grange is saying on this. Sometimes Grange has out-of-pocket opinions on things. It seems like Grange has been very quiet this summer. I think he is truly taking a summer off for the most part, because I have not been seeing Grange much on Twitter at all. I didn't block him, did I? I don't think I did. I should go check and see what Grange has been talking about. Maybe he has some opinions on Koloko. All right, 23 days. Let's go. That's right, Cowboy. Let's focus on what's important, Cowboy. How about that? Let's focus on the basketball, because I've told people I don't want to talk about the election on here. But if you open it up, I will. I won't talk about it otherwise, just so you know. Mike's saying Doug Smith isn't even a fan of basketball, in my opinion. Laugh out loud. Well, it did find out that he did play basketball when he was younger. You know, it is true. He said something about, like, in his We the North book, that he begrudgingly took the basketball assignment because nobody else wanted to. Like, he was saying that nobody wanted to cover basketball in the mid-90s here in Toronto, that everybody aspired to be hockey journalists in the hockey field, and just you wanted to do that. And in some ways, he kind of just took it as a leftover. Well, motherfucker, it made your career. Like, seriously, you be nobody, a jabroni writer, if you didn't become the head writer of Raptors stuff in Toronto in the newspapers. So it's like, seriously, I mean, get with it. And if he's not, it'd be really crazy if we find out down the road that Doug Smith was really a plant for Hockey Canada the whole time, and he was just kind of trying to do the bidding for them on the down low. And like, we find out later, he was actually more of a hockey fan this whole entire time. Like what Mike is saying here. Mike, always good to see you join the chat, man. We love Logical Raptors Fanatic, another great YouTube channel on the Raptors. That's right. Seymour saying big ups to Logical. That's right. Big ups to our guy Mike. Always happy to see him. Andrew saying, and some people don't believe in global warming. That's what I'm saying. Listen, the climate has actually been getting hotter and hotter every year. And this is what's dangerous about the world right now, is that there's wet bulb theory, which actually can be very lethal to humans if we're not cognizant of it. Think of the whole frog and the pot boiling analogy. If they turn the heat up just slightly, you don't actually notice the heat coming up slightly, but at some point that frog is boiled. And in some ways, we are in danger of boiling our whole entire planet, like in different ways. Some climates may be much more habitable. Like, honestly, everybody knocks Canada for being too cold and having too much snow and all this stuff, but that's not true. Have y'all noticed the last couple of years, the amount of snowfall we get? It's not much. We don't have snow days anymore. Have you seen the snow plows piling up huge snow drifts on the side of the roads the last couple of years? No, you haven't, because the snow doesn't stay on the ground. And one of the things that's going to be really at our benefit, everybody's going to say, oh, Canada's too cold, too cold. Well, with this global warming stuff happening, we're going to have a very nice climate more and more as time goes on. So, hey, winning is what I'm saying. And then down in Florida and that kind of band, Texas, Arizona, you know, they had this summer in Arizona 100 days of 100-degree heat. Like, this shit is serious. And that part of that whole band of the globe is going to be inhabitable by people at some point. Like, either you're going to have some crazy ass air conditioning or stuff like that, but it's going to be very dangerous for people that live in the south of the North America, because it's going to get hotter and hotter like that. I'm telling you, this is not going back and forth. It's not cyclical like one side's trying to say this is just the natural thing. No, they're very much keeping track of this very closely. And the temperature raising is going out and farther and farther on the graphs that they show. They can show you how the average temperature was in the 1950s, the 1900s, the 1850s, the 1800s. And it's just that going out and out more and more. And it really is carbon emissions. It is the gas and the oil burnt, the big, huge factories, the industry putting all the particulate in the air. It warms us like a blanket. It's very simple. The particulate gets in the air and it covers us and it holds the sun's heat inside within, and we get hotter. That's the whole thing. It's science. People can say that's not true, but scientists know it's true. It's very much an accepted thing in the science community. It's just a faith-based community, the community that gets money from oil companies that come around and trying to confuse things and say, oh, it's a hoax. It's a hoax. See, this is the thing. The people that say climate change are hoax are a branch of the tree of the huge amount of money that big companies like Exxon and Shell are funneling to try and shape opinion. So that's the thing. Anything anti-electric, anything anti-solar, anything about climate change that's denying it is usually funded by the big oil companies, just so y'all know. And if you want to be a corporate puppet to the big oil companies and just squawk their line of thinking, you go ahead, but you're wrong. And I'll stand with the scientists, the people that actually went to school and educated themselves and actually know about this topic. And in some ways, they're not even denying it anymore between themselves. It's a very generally accepted climate change is real by the people that actually are educated enough to know. How about that? So I'll say that right there. Thank you, Andrew. Little side turn on global warming. They don't believe it. Yeah, there you go. It's right there. Cowboys say more peppers to grow. That's right. The heat is actually really good for the peppers. In some ways, look, we can't control the climate change completely. We can try and change our behaviors to be better. But as individuals, it's not really on us. It's the big industries that are the worst polluters and the ones causing this. It's people like Elon Musk flying around on a stupid jet just to go to the store. It's people that have the big smokestacks that are putting this shit in. It's the deregulation of industries and allowing them to pollute our planet that are they're the worst offenders. But they're going to tell you to stop doing this and stop doing that. Well, there are things we can do as a collective that will add up to help. But honestly, the onus on starting to change climate change is on the car companies. It's on the fucking gas and oil companies. It's on the big industries that are polluting our world even more than anybody else. And that's who's got to do it. And honestly, I'm going to get the benefits of this too. Warmer weather, better pepper growing weather. Sure, that's a badass thing right there. Right there. Trevor's saying Miami Heat's going to present Dwayne Wade with a statue. 2 days celebration in October with Rick Ross performing. Yeah, this is great. And this makes sense. Dwayne Wade is an icon in the Miami Heat franchise for sure. Dwayne Dade. Yeah. Dade Wade country. Yeah. Yeah. This makes total sense. And this is why I want to do the same thing for Vince. Yeah, I said a lot of things about Vince today, but I still want to give him a statue in Toronto. That's right. Andrew saying I grew tomatoes this year. Tomatoes are another one that does pretty good. They're real. You got to really balance them with the heat and the water and stuff like that, though. That's very cool, Andrew. I encourage everybody to grow their own food, just like Cowboy and Andrew. Yeah, Blackhawk saying, as I said before, Koloko needs to play for the CBL to prove his way back. That's interesting. That's very interesting. I don't know. We were talking about this yesterday about the G League and CBL and who's playing for the Intercontinental Cup right now around the globe. And one of the guys on the G League United team that's playing in the Intercontinental Cup said this in the last day. He said that he believes that the second best league in the whole entire world is the G League, that the NBA is the best premier league in the whole entire world, and that the G League is the second most competitive professional league in the whole entire world. Man, that's a really lofty assumption and thing to say. I mean, I will bet that there's Italian, Spain, a lot of different countries that have very high level basketball leagues that might want to argue with you on this G League player that said this recently. I mean, that may not be completely untrue, but it could also be, yeah, you're way off. I don't know. I wish we could find out. One thing I would say to that G Leaguer who said that is that, well, the G League champion has gone to the Intercontinental Cup and played the champions of other leagues and has never won. There's never been a G League winner of the Intercontinental Cup. So in some ways, you don't have any factual evidence to back up your claim that the NBA G League is the second best professional league in the entire world as far as how good it is. It's crazy. Yeah, I don't know if Koloko needs to do that. I think that in some ways he doesn't need to go to CBL. I mean, maybe you're right in the way that he can come back and play professionally because they don't have a fitness to play panel that's holding him from it. And maybe there is a roundabout way for Koloko to jumpstart his career in the CBL or a smaller league like that, because the NBA is just saying no, because our doctors and our panel says no. But CBL be like, yeah, Koloko, you could play for us. Come play for Scarborough. Yeah. That's interesting. Trevor's saying report come out that Shannon Sharpe is not going to be fired from ESPN, but he was off $100,000 to do an adult film. He was offered $100,000 to do an adult film. That's hilarious. Yeah, they're always going to do that. That industry always looks for new opportunities, especially if there are stories in the news, to just ask the person to come and do stuff. I'm sure they've asked the Hawk Tua woman to come and do. They gave her offer too. I'm sure they did. Yeah, I'm not surprised by this. In some ways, the firing of Paul Pierce for a similar thing, there were visuals of what happened with Paul Pierce, and in some ways, Shannon Sharpe, it being an audio. In some ways, there actually could be a legal thing in court where Shannon Sharpe's lawyer could make a defense that says this isn't actually my client. This is a recording. You have no factual evidence of him doing this, because you can't see it. So there may be some things like that. ESPN fires him and he has some legal recourse, and that may be what it is. So they probably maybe couldn't fire him partly because it was just audio. How about that? Yeah. Mike's saying Holly Weird runs deep. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. Andrew's saying Koloko came to our summer league games. I think he still wants to be in Toronto. I think that's true too. I mean, I think he wants his options open. Rich Paul's his representative, and they may be looking around. But I'm telling you, no news is bad news with Koloko. We should have heard about this. I was telling y'all in the beginning of August, we'd hear a Koloko determination by the end of August, and we still haven't heard it. And it's 2 weeks into September now. So this is weird. In some ways, I wish we'd hear more about Christian. I do find it very intriguing that he is on the court, running up and down the court a lot right now. Let's go do the Instagram stories, and maybe I'll talk about him from seeing him right here. First of all, we got Miles Burns. He's saying, I'm late, but man, happy birthday to my brother. Truly one of them ones and true friend. Love you for forever, gangsta, always. Do your thing overseas. Praying for you. I'm not even sure he's talking about King Fagan from Ole Miss, an old teammate from his college days. So he says showing the happiness and happy birthday to that guy. RJ Barrett posting an Instagram story. Very rare. We don't see them often, but it's a picture of him with Zion Williamson. And Zion Williamson posted a picture of him and RJ in their Duke days, and they're reliving it. RJ, very close friends with Zion. And, well, RJ's showing his friend Zion in his Instagram stories right now. Gary Trent Sr. has some chicken in a platter tray, and he's showing that it's as big as his hand. And that's a big NBA player, so that's a big chicken wing right there. That looks kind of tasty. I don't know. I like the celery and the trimmings around it. All right, Gary, you trying to make me hungry right now. Oh, man. Yeah, he's got some chicken. And then he's got some guy in a pool with some thick lady. And he's saying, damn, man, you're always in the gym. Why are you always working out? And then he's like, me, I'm holding this, this lady. And, I have to be strong to hold her, basically. Then it's like this guy, he's got a picture of Future, and he's saying, got 0 X's because I don't count mistakes. So funny. Let's see. Bro's working hard. I love it. He's got it's Javal McGee, guys. Gary Trent Sr. is a fan of Javal McGee. Apparently, he is not on a team yet. He's one of the people on the free agency list that has not been reacquired and put on a team for the season. He is working out with Christian. He's been seen in the gym with Christian this week. JaVale McGee and Christian Koloko put in work together as 2 big men. So, yeah, and there's Gary's Fitbit stats. He walked 2.87 miles yesterday, 30 minutes, 5.2 miles per hour on a 0.6% incline at 11 and a half minutes pace, and the elevation was 90 feet. Okay, we got Gary Trent Sr.'s Fitbit stats. Emmanuel Quickly has got a Skills Open Gym Elite Camp, grades 2 through 5, 1 p.m. to 2:45 p.m., grades 6 through 8, 3 p.m. to 4:45 p.m., Sunday, September the 15th. That is this Sunday in Maryland at Havre de Grace Rec Center. So Emmanuel's going to be back home in Maryland on Sunday doing an elite skills camp for the kids. Always love seeing the Raptors doing their camps all summer long. Disu is out there celebrating his Texas Longhorns time. The Raptor is saying Throwback Thursday. Raptors Rewind highlights of the Raptor mascot trying to do dunks, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. There's Koloko with JaVale McGee. As I said, there they are together. Koloko's pulling a heavy thing to pull for strength, and JaVale's on there adding more weight, and they're joking around on there. So Christian's putting in that work with a veteran big man from the NBA, McGee. Let's see. Also, there's them standing at the practice. Who's that with them? That is there's a very tall woman there. Who is that? Who is that? Who is that? Oh, that's Cambridge. Cambridge, the WNBA player, Cambridge. I forget her name, but yeah, she's there with them, and she's about the same height as them. That's crazy because they're both 7-footers, and there she is in the middle. Maybe she's got little heels on or something. I don't know. Maybe she is almost 7 foot. That's at Cambridge. I forget her name, but she's the one. She's kind of had some controversy around her, I believe. Let's see. And then Koloko's saying this on his Instagram stories. God's plans may feel like detours, but they always lead to our destiny. Trust him. So who knows? He's still having issues. Obviously, he's not cleared to play. So he's just believing in God, that God has a plan for him, and that even though this is not what he wants and this is a detour, that he still trusts that God's plan is going to come out for him in the end. I like that attitude, Koloko, and you keep having it, and I hope you are able to return, and Doug Smith is wrong. That's what I hope. Yeah, there you go. Slim Duck saying just ha-ha-haing my way through life is what he's saying. And there's more footage of him putting in work. So much work this summer. Chris has been in that gym all summer long. All summer long. Jamal McGlure is celebrating Dwayne Wade's statue celebrations. He's still Heat Nation. So he's showing respect to the decision to make a statue of Dwayne Wade. He's also in East Scarborough at the Boys and Girls Club, waiting for them to give a youth a few words of wisdom. So Jamal McGlure was out in Scarborough yesterday, giving some equipment to the kids for school, and also coming to encourage them to do well as a mentor. So yeah, help turn potential into possible. I love it. Love it. Good stuff by Jamal. There he is. It's computers. They're giving out laptops to teach to students for the school year, which is a fantastic thing. These kids need this kind of stuff these days at school to do their studies correctly. So good stuff. Good job with the laptop drive. Jamal McGlure out in East Scarborough yesterday. Kelly Olynyk posting a picture of him and Grady Dick on a veranda in Miami. We know the Raptors team has been in Miami this past week doing a little mini training camp in Miami, and it's cool to see Kelly with Grady. And also it looks like Oshai is in the background there too, is who it looks like there also. Let's see who else we got. Jamal Sheds talking about Houston hoops on his Instagram. We've got Teresa Resch on Breakfast Television talking about women's body image issues still today, and about how women have to worry about, like, am I too big or too thin or whatever. And yeah, it's very, very important topic, and it's really cool to see our Toronto WNBA president coming down to Breakfast Television and talking about important women's issues and stuff like that. She's also got a graph on here showing that women's sports fandom is growing, and that's in basketball and in soccer. Fantastic stuff. We love to see that. It is true. The women's sports are growing and doing a lot of great things these days. Really, really good stuff. Let's see. She's also putting on blast Aja Wilson for her breaking the WNBA scoring record. So we like to see Teresa Resch putting that on blast. Also, she did an event called Baskets and Brunch. It's a fireside chat with president of WNBA Toronto, Teresa Resch. MLSE Women's 8 represents is what is the event. So she just sat down and talked to people about stuff. Very, very cool stuff. And she's also putting on blast. There's a pop-up this weekend, guys, for tall ladies. Teresa being a tall lady herself, there's a fashion pop-up for women of taller stature where there's clothing that fits them. So check that out. I believe it's at, let me see, it's called Poppy Barley Tall Size Pop-Up, a curated shopping experience for tall women, clothing and shoes just for you. It's at Walnut Avenue, 83 Walnut Avenue in Toronto. On Friday is sold out, and tomorrow there's opening still from 10 to 6 p.m. tomorrow on Saturday. So if you want to go to that pop-up, you can check it out tomorrow. There's Wubbs, and he's got a picture of Shamshay, Prince Shamshay, and it looks like they're at some sort of place out. It may be a club. It may be a restaurant. And Shamshay looks like he's kind of sleeping. It's like Jacoby Walter took a candid picture of Ulrich Shamshay, and he's sitting down and his eyes are closed and his arms are folded. And Wubbs is laughing at him. So there's some fun connecting between our rookies already, and the season hasn't even started. It seems like these guys are really a good band together, all together right now, because they are having fun. And there's a lot of reposting between Shed, Walter, Shamshay, and Carlson and those guys, and Mobo. So good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. So Jacoby, you got Shamshay sleeping. Grady, there's Grady's picture of him and Kelly standing in the sunset in Miami. Pascal Siakam continuing to work with the Pacers, the young Pacers at his compound in Orlando, teaching the young Pacers all kinds of different stuff, all kinds of things, teaching them and encouraging them as the vet he is, the old head he is on the team. For some reason, Siakam decided to post an old 905 highlight of him and Freddie from like a long time ago. And it's basically a transition play where Fred finds Pascal in transition and gets the ball to him, and Pascal dunks it. But I don't know what's special about this play exactly. But yeah, it's nice to see Siakam remembering where he came from and posting an old Raptors 905 clip and sharing it with Fred. I mean, the brotherhood is strong. These guys are NBA champions together on the Toronto Raptors, and the bond will never be broken. It's just how it is. And here is the Raptors official admin showing the picture of Vince, quiet, quitting on Toronto with the towel over his head, looking so depressed and sad. Yeah, that's when he started averaging 12 points per game. And then magically, when he got traded to the Nets, he started averaging 26 points per game again. That's what I'm going to tell you, young Raptors fans. That man averaged 12 points per game the last season he was on the Raptors because he told everybody publicly he wasn't trying to jump anymore, and that he wasn't trying, and that he was giving the plays for the Raptors to the other team in the middle of the game. So, yeah, you tell me if that's somebody we should honor and celebrate to the full extent. Seriously, nah. I have limits on this. And, yeah, I can't believe Raptors admin did not realize that that's what that picture signifies. That picture signifies the quiet quitting of Vince Carter. Oh my gosh, you guys aren't thinking here. Jay Nathan posting something about he's going to make NBA history with a attention-grabbing shoe deal. So Mobo is signed on with a new shoe company. I don't even know what their name is. They're a small company. So in some ways, that's interesting. All right, there's your Instagram stories from the Raptors world right there, reviewing all what's going on around Raptors on IG. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Cowboys saying, good job, Andrew. Keep growing. That's right. You guys are farmers. Isaac Campbell got the tractor out, and Andrew's got the tomatoes out. Yeah. We don't want to throw no tomatoes at Doug Smith, right? Throw them at him. Blackhawk saying, I don't doubt that he wants to be in Toronto, but it just because he wants it doesn't mean he gets it. Yeah, I know. That's true. Nothing's guaranteed. And especially since Masai doesn't outright have his rights right now legally. But that's the thing. Bobby and Masai are probably looking into everything they can do possibly to retain Christian, even though they waived him earlier this year. It's not that we wanted to waive him. The only reason why we waived him is because he medically wasn't cleared to play, and we needed the room on a roster to field an active roster. So it's just a tough position. In some ways, the NBA is wrong for not allowing us a special allowance to keep our player on our team and incorporate with. That's why it's fishy to me. Some of this is very fishy to me. Why did we have to lose our draft asset because he was on the shelf? Why couldn't we do something like Chet Holmgren in his rookie year? I think it's very, very fishy to me, some of the stuff that is around Koloko like this. And in some ways, exactly, just because we want him back, just because he may want him back, there may be powers out there that aren't going to allow it. And whether that's not even clearing him to play in the NBA or directing him to another NBA team when he is cleared to play. Oh my gosh, that's not what I want to hear. Carlos saying, how long till Doug Smith retires? He seems tired. I don't know. In some ways, you can do that job until you're very, very old. You don't have to retire. You could be very, very old and doing that job. It's just when you get to that point of Danny Glover and saying, I'm too old for this shit. And then you hang it up. But yeah, he could be doing this still for quite a while. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. In some ways, I like Doug Smith doing what he does. It's just I'll call him out when he's kind of funky, like a 2-year waiving 2 years ago. Come on, man. Andrew saying Yak's playmaking rating is 2K is 50, way too low. Yeah, I mean, I don't go by any of those rankings. In some ways, I could go look at them and analyze them and just get really mad. So I just ignore them. You guys play the game, enjoy yourself. It's fantasy. It's not the real world. And the 2K ratings, anybody who's basing their opinions on NBA players from 2K ratings, you have no bearing on the reality of the world. And 2K is not to be taken like that. That's part of the problem, probably, with some of the younger people and how they have opinions on which players are good or not. They're basing a lot of it on bullshit from 2K in some ways. Andrew, I know that's not you. I know that's not you, and I'm not indicting you in that way, but I agree with you. That's way too low for passing or playmaking for Jakob. That's crazy. Blackhawk saying he needs to show how badly he wants basketball. He doesn't have enough cash like Brandon Ingram or Aldridge for NBA to take a chance on him. You're talking about Koloko? I don't know. I think that's totally wrong, Neil. Listen, Koloko showed up and he had a very high block per game average. In some ways, the NBA saw the power of Koloko similar to Wemby, and they were scared. They're like, we can't have more than one guy like Wemby that's kind of directing things in a certain way, because that's exactly what happened with Christian. When he was healthy, he was a game changer. He made people think twice about shooting anywhere near him, and he was a very Wemby-like defender. So don't tell me he doesn't have cash, because he does. He's a very powerful, possible person in the NBA, and they see that and they're scared of it. In some ways, this is kind of me giving away a little bit of what I want to talk about on Sunday. But I'm just saying, don't get it twisted. That man has a promising NBA future. And to me, he doesn't have a whole lot to prove other than he's healthy and he's able to play by the doctor's note. And otherwise, I want to continue to try and strengthen him, put some more weight on him, and see where that goes. Because this kid is I don't agree with this, Neil, to an extent, what you're saying. Seymour saying you have NBA 2K25, Andrew. I'm pretty sure he does. Fiercely saying, sheesh, no idea who he is. Where's that was the classic card. That's right. That's right. And Seymour's laughing at eye candy there. Let me see. What else did you guys say on that? Let me make sure. I just jumped ahead again. Let me make sure I don't miss any comments today. Let's see. Didn't Andrew Lang play for the Knicks? I'm pretty sure he did at some point. Let's see. What else? Thank you, David, for adjudicating classic card. Andrew saying, Seymour, don't have 2K25 yet. Gonna wait until it goes on sale. There you go. There you go. Yeah, some people jump on it and want to get there right away, but they pay the premium price. Andrew's going to wait a little bit. Blackhawk saying, once it's in question, it's Jeopardy. It's Jeopardy. What? Alex Trebek? What? You're talking about with Koloko? I mean, listen, it's just so murky and weird. I don't understand it. Let's see. Seymour saying, my 2K24 ratings are mad suspect. Yeah, I'm just saying, I wouldn't go by anything that Ronnie and them are doing with that video game as far as your vision of who is what in the NBA and their powers. I mean, they're sliding Scotty for sure with his rankings. They're sliding all the Raptors with their rankings. They always do. And in some ways, I would never, ever, ever. Because I can remember even when I had a game like this, but this is before, and when it had the Raptors on it, all the Raptors were really low ranked, even in the beginning. They've always low ranked Raptors players in video games for the NBA. They always have. They always have. They've always downgraded. And when a good player gets a good ranking on that, that's actually a big deal. So it's just always how it is. Let's see. Andrew's saying not paying $90 for the same game. Yeah, the ratings are whack. Scotty at 85 is criminal. Yeah, he should be at least, I would say 88 is probably a fair rating for Scott. Some people are saying he has to be at least 90, but I think 88 is fair enough. He shouldn't be 85, though. He should be above a couple of guys that are right around that area on the NBA 2K ratings. He should be above some of them. And some of them are higher than him is a joke. It's an absolute joke. Absolute joke. Mike is saying, who is Andrew Lang? Classic card for 2000. Andrew Lang is like 90s. He's 90s. He's not even. Like, that's a card probably, I don't know. I don't remember exactly. I remember Andrew Lang being on the Sixers, too. He was on the Sixers for a little while. Andrew saying, a 47th ranked player in 2K, but is statistically a top 25 player in the NBA. Yeah, I mean, whatever. Once again, the NBA 2K rankings, take them as you want to. And some people that are basing everything off of them, you're idiots, is what I'll say right there. Andrew saying, we started Malik Williams 9 hours after signing him. Shows how bad of a shape our team was in. Yeah, and that's part of why we had to waive Koloko, even though we didn't want to, because we were in bad place at that time. Yeah, Malik, to his credit, you're right. He just showed up, and he was not new. But also, in some ways, this is something that NBA teams look at when they get new players. How quickly do you adapt? How quickly do you catch on? Is your aptitude up there where you can like learn quickly? And he just didn't. Like, it was weird. It's like, dude, you should have the basics of being a big man. And he just didn't have it around the Raptors. And he just didn't have it. He wasn't good defensively. He didn't get rebounds. So what are you even doing as a 4 or a big man in the NBA? You don't belong there, obviously. because maybe you don't have the aptitude to learn fast enough. As I think that's bullshit when players say, "Oh, I just got here," make excuses. No, you need to understand the environment you're going into and be very, very aggressive to learn and adapt and get the playbook and all that stuff as quickly as possible as soon as you get picked up, because that's your chance. Eminem, yeah, you better lose yourself, because you ain't going nowhere if you don't do that, Mom Spaghetti. That's right. That's what I'm gonna say right there. Yeah. Yeah, you got one chance. That's what I'm saying. You can't come in here lackadaisical and say, "Oh, I don't really know the team yet." No, motherfucker, you better be staying up all night learning the team and the playbook as soon as you show up, and show that you're trying and you're fitting in. He didn't look like that to me at all. He looked very passive and just kind of a bump on the log, just kind of, "Hey, I'm here. Hello." He wasn't aware of it at all. Name's saying, reporting live from an active leak investigation in building on Young Street. Whoa. All right. Our plumber is on the job. We've got our Italian plumber downtown on Young Street right now, reporting live from an active leak investigation in a building. Is this on the news too? Is this like on CB24? And they're like, oh, there's a leak on Young Street right now, 2:45 Friday afternoon. Hi, this is Breakfast Television, and there's a leak on Young Street right now. We have an expert plumber named Nameless on the site. What's going on there, Nameless? It's a leak. Somebody took a big, huge leak, and it overflowed the toilet, and I got to fix it now. Okay, thank you for reporting live from an active leak investigation. I hope that's a leak that has to do with water and not gas. Yeah. Fiercely saying, gotta go prepare for meetings, fam. See y'all tomorrow for Share the Love. That's right. Share the Love Club is going to be for a long-standing person in the Raptors world from the beginning. Mostly, I think he wasn't there right away at the very beginning, but he was pretty much there right away. In some ways, he was there as an intern from the beginning, but he kind of showed up a couple years in, but he's been there the whole time. We're going to do a Share the Love Club for Eric Smith, guys. Eric Smith's been a voice on the Fan 590 for the Raptors on the radio for decades now. And in some ways, he's unsung. And I was really impressed with the jersey raffle that he did, the Scotty Barnes signed jersey raffle last week for that very good cause, the brain symptom thing that he was putting on blast. I'm going to learn more about it today and educate everybody on what his cause was when he did that jersey. But we're going to show the love for Eric Smith. A long time, just like Paul Jones and Leo Routens, he's been around this team since the beginning in a lot of ways. And in some ways, he's an unsung, kind of forgotten broadcaster in the Raptors world. So we're gonna give credit and share the love for Eric Smith of the Fan 590 and the Raptors radio broadcaster. So yeah, y'all be ready for that tomorrow. That's our Share the Love Club tomorrow. Yeah, W Stream. Thank you, Fiercey. Andrew saying that is crazy compared to today's game, but I do any job for 15 years for 20 million. Well, back then, inflation was different. Costs were different. And, the money would go a lot further than it does in some ways than now. And in some ways, it's all different levels and different things. But yeah, the NBA was a privilege. In some ways, these guys come in so entitled these days, and they just expect huge bags and to be pampered and all this stuff. These guys back in the day weren't like that. They earned everything, and they went through the school of hard knocks to get to where they got to in the age of Dominique Wilkins and Charles Barkley and Larry Bird. I'm just saying, that's just how it was. It's funny. Dominique told the guys on All the Smoke to have Karl Malone on the show. And Steven Jackson's like, "Oh, I don't know if I should have him on. I've said some things about him." And Dominique's like, "Yeah, you should get Karl on the show. You should get Karl Malone to come on the show." And Steven Jackson said, "You know what? Yeah, we should. And I'll go ahead and directly talk to him about the allegations, the things I know are true." Ooh, wouldn't that be an episode? All the Smoke with Karl Malone. And they directly ask him about impregnating an underage woman and basically doing like a really creepy, like gross. It is really a sexual crime, honestly, what Karl Malone did back in the day. I mean, this was like a 13-year-old girl that he impregnated. And it's disgusting. It's a disgusting thing what Karl Malone did. And Steven Jackson, you want to put his feet to the fire on All the Smoke? Whew, I'm here for it. I'll watch that. I will watch that. That would be crazy. That would be so crazy. Yeah. Let's see what else you guys are saying right now. Mike's saying 20 million in the 80s is like 200 million now. Well, Dominique got 23 million by the time it was 2000. So it really was like 2000 time when he had finally accumulated 23 million. In the beginning, like I said, in his rookie year, he made 325,000. And he told the story about John Koncak. Actually, it's crazy. He was saying they just paid John Koncak this crazy amount, and then they paid me just like a little bit more than him. They paid John Koncak a $13 million contract, and they gave Dominique a $14 million contract, but it just didn't make no sense. Koncak was a backup center. He wasn't even starting, and he was the second highest paid player on the Hawks. It was really messed up. But Dominique was like, I'll just take the money. I won't whine and complain about this. But it didn't make no fucking sense. How Southern Methodist University's John Koncak was making almost the same amount as Dominique Wilkins on the Atlanta Hawks. Something fishy there. Yeah, you can probably connect the dots on that. You can connect the dots on that. Brian saying, Logical, DM me. I want you on my show. I like your content. There you go. That's what we like. We like to hear that Mike and King are going to hook up and do a to the point episode. And I'll be in there too, Brian, when you're ready. At some point, I want to come in and do that too. Yeah, King for sure. Awesome. Awesome. Blackhawk saying we had to become champions first to kick the desire up more for the Bucks. Giannis was crying when he won Defensive Player of the Year before becoming a champion. He wanted the championship so badly. Well, now he's got it. In some ways, Giannis is cushy and he's like comfortable. He's comfortable. You got a championship guy. You've got accolades. You've got a family. You got your kids. Your life is happy. Do you have an edge to you? No, I'm going to get mad at a ladder and I'm going to push a ladder over and get really angry. No, I mean, in some ways, look, once again, I'm going to say this. Giannis is a very talented athlete, but in some ways, there's things up here that aren't the same as some of the old competitors from back in the day. And it's not his fault. It's not his fault. In some ways, he's just limited by who he is. And that's just that. It's just what it is. So, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with the Bucks. In some ways, to get the drive to get a second championship is special. And in some ways, I don't know if he's got it. Andrew's saying it was kind of wholesome when Giannis won. He was playing insanely well, too. Giannis' story is inspirational. I want to disagree with that. It's just that I'm telling you, Milwaukee's been mismanaged in the last year. And a lot of it may have to do with the influence of what Antetokounmpo's trying to tell them what he wants for that franchise. Because it's not being run correctly. And, hiring Doc Rivers and firing Adrien Griffin is symptomatic of this. The fact that Budenholzer was fired so quickly for a first-round exit against Miami the year before was a hair-trigger response. And they really didn't need to do that. Budenholzer was fine. And he was the guy that was actually working really well with Giannis. It is what it is. It's Milwaukee's problems. And in some ways, I don't mind them having problems. But I won't disagree with you. Giannis, I like Giannis as a person. I think Giannis is a cool dude. I think that he's a great star. In some ways, I like him way more than I like a lot of the other superstars in the league. I'm not a hater of his. I'm just trying to be honest about this. In some ways, his energy does not have second championship on it. For some reason, I just feel it like that. Yeah, Blackhawk saying Giannis' story is full circle. There you go. I like that. Mike's saying he spent like 7 or 8 years here. If you look at most players, 7 or 8 years is like the longest tenure for most of our stars. Who are you talking about? You're talking about Vince. That's wrong. Vince was not here for 7, 8 years. He was only here for like 4 or 5 years. He wasn't here for that long. Let's see. Andrew's saying, would have been so cool if Vince and T-Mac stayed together. It would have been such a fun team. Yeah, and T-Mac has a regret over this. In some ways, once again, subterfuge and bullshit. People in Tracy's ears saying you can't get to be a big star on Toronto with your cousin here. He's going to outshine you, and you won't get the things that you want, like more money and stardom. And he bought into that. In some ways, that was correct, maybe, because Orlando, he did blossom down there as a big star in the NBA, and he did get more money and was the franchise player. But Tracy will always have to wonder, and he's admitted this. That's why I love Tracy. I have no issues with Tracy McGrady like I do with Vince Carter. Even though Tracy, when he left, it wasn't the most nice thing, but since he's done damage control, he's been intelligent about it. In some ways, the way Vince has said, I have nothing to apologize about what I did in Toronto is absolute horse crap. You should be apologizing for giving our plays to the other team. You should be apologizing to the kids that paid tickets to come and see you play when you half-assed your last year here. Seriously. So you can go ahead and say you don't have anything to apologize for, Vince, or you don't feel like you did anything wrong, but you're absolutely wrong. And that's why I still hold a grudge against you. But Tracy, he came around, wrote a book, and said, if I was younger and wiser, if I was wiser when I was younger, I may have not made that same decision that I did to leave Toronto. And I listened to the wrong people. And I do wonder about what Vince and I could have accomplished if we had stuck together. Yeah. Let's see. Mike is saying, the front office failed VC too. It's not all on VC. I'm not going to disagree that the coaching staff and the front office were not very good. They were inept. But once again, Mike, I will say this. And this is something for everybody to do in their life. It's not about what somebody did to you. It's about how you react. It's about how you behave. And in some ways, he wasn't the bigger person in this. He lowered himself to being just as bad as them. It's not that they were bad, like people, they were just idiots. Like they didn't know what they were doing. And it was a problem. Vince could have tried to figure out a way to get out of there without sabotaging the team. He could have just been an adult and talked to people and said, listen, I need to leave as soon as possible. We're working with you. We're going to try and make this happen. It's not happening fast enough. I'm going to stop jumping. I'm going to stop doing this. I'm going to start telling the other team my plays. See, that's fucked up, Mike. In some ways, if you think about Army protocol and you think about deserters, you think about turncoats, you think about traitors, that's what this is. He was actively on duty in the Army, and he was giving secrets for our team to the other side. And that's, in some ways, if you ask a military person, that's absolutely reprehensible. And you don't come back from getting forgiveness for that. And in some ways, I look at it that way as a huge Raptors fan for a long, long time. It's like, you can't, that's unforgivable sin is what it is, Mike. It's an unforgivable sin. And you can only control what you do. Yeah, the front office was inept. The front office was stupid. But you control yourself, Vince. And what your actions are a reflection of yourself is what I would say, Mike, right there. Andrew saying the Raptors front office was run poorly back then, but the way Vince went about it was childish. That's it right there. Andrew's got it right on the mark. Right on the mark right there. Blackhawks saying, I still can't hold a grudge against Vince. It was his career to matter. Roberto Alomar torched his career more than VC too. Me and Alomar is a two-time champion with us. Yeah, I don't even know. Alomar, in some ways, he's a weird story. And I kind of forget what he did because I'm not a Blue Jays freak. But I know he spit on a kid. I know he did that. And I know he was very wrong in his personal life with some of his views and some of the things said. But on the field, I don't think he did anything wrong to the Blue Jays then. I don't know. I may be completely forgetting something. In some ways, I don't have enough knowledge. But in some ways, I don't care about Roberto Alomar Jr. In some ways, he is a World Series champion with the Blue Jays, and he is a part of Blue Jays history. But I know also he's disgraced. And, some of the stuff that happened with him that he's disgraced about, it was not even on the field. It was just him in his personal life. So I don't know. Mike's saying, I see both at fault, in my opinion. You can't run a basketball team like a hockey team. Yeah, and that was part of the problem at the time. Mike's exactly right. MLSE was trying to run the Raptors like a hockey team, and it was really failing. Rob Babcock was a big joke. He was not a good GM, and the coaches that we were bringing in were not quality coaches. Kevin O'Neill was not a good coach, and so there's reasons. I get it. And players can be disgruntled. I mean, Dame Lillard, what he did last summer is, look at how much patience he had for how long he had with Portland until he went crazy last summer and said, no, I'm just leaving no matter what. I can't give any credit to Vince about how he handled it. He could have been a lot more eloquent and like smooth about it. He could have been a lot more grown up about it. He could have been a lot more mature about it. But he sees no problem with what he did. You gave our plays to Sean Kemp and Gary Payton in the middle of a game, Vince. Seriously, that's fucked up. That is really fucked up. In fact, you admitting it publicly once again makes everybody say we don't have to respect the Raptors because their franchise face, the most important Raptor ever in the history of the Raptors at this time, is totally disrespecting the team himself. This is what I'm talking about. It's bigger than certain things. It's bigger than Vince and his own career dreams. It's about the Raptors and their culture and their history and earning respect. And somebody who built respect for us shat and pissed all over it afterwards. And the action of the whole league was to do it even more so on top of us after him. And that's why I can't forgive him, Mike, because in some ways, he's a captain of disrespect for the Raptors. He's almost a walking embodiment of a person that to me represents disrespecting the Raptors. Vince Carter. Yes, that's true. And the other side, people down south understand this and they love that. That's why it's kind of like a gaslighting thing. It's like, y'all should be honoring Vince Carter. What's wrong with you guys? Oh, yeah, but you know the history and you're gaslighting me when you say shit like that because you know exactly what I just talked about. You know the damn truth of it right there. Yeah. Let's see what else. Let's see. Kareem saying, if we are celebrating the 30th anniversary, why not celebrate with the pinstripes? When we honor Vince, we can wear those hideous plain purple front blackback jerseys. Sorry to piss you off. I'm still advocating. Well, Kareem, I told you we wore those 10 years ago on the 5 years ago. The white pinstripe ones, those were all worn on the 20th and 25th anniversary. I don't know what they're going to do exactly. Kareem. They may show up. I don't know. But I'm saying you, the signs are showing that it's going to be that Vince Carter jersey. And you're not pissing me off. But you continue to say this. It's fine. It's what you want. Mike is saying 2006 lost VC and got Bargnani and Bosch was like 3 years in. Bosch left 3 years after Vince. It wasn't just Vince. The front office wasn't great. I won't disagree with this. And this is something a lot of franchises have to deal with. But still, once again, Mike, do you not understand my point? You can work for a company that's absolutely a shitty boss and they're horrible to you. But you doing something wrong, like stealing things from the company or acting in certain ways out against the company, that's on you. That's your own personal behavior. Do you understand this, Mike? There's never a justifiable reason to do what Vince did. I don't care how bad the team is run. I don't care how bad the coach is. There's never a justifiable reason to do what he did. In fact, it's not common in this league that NBA players are giving plays to the other team like that or quiet quitting on their team like this. Now, I would have had more respect with Vince if he had faked an injury like Kawhi and sat out the whole entire year instead of masquerading like he was helping us, instead of coming out there and making people think he's giving a full effort. What the fuck kind of playing is that, Mike? You can come out, show up, put the uniform on, and come out there and be an imposter and half-ass play? No, we don't like half-assing on this channel. And that's what I'm saying about this, Mike. You got to understand there's differences here. There's differences here. Mike's saying 7 years of Bargnani, then Masai traded him and we started to win. Yeah. I mean, we started to win when Masai and Dwayne Casey showed up finally. And that's part of it right there. Look, listen, Colangelo wasn't bad either. He started the building blocks of getting us to the right place, drafting people like Jonas Valanciunas and DeMar DeRozan. But, listen, Mike, it's an odyssey. The NBA franchise, the Raptors, has had ups and downs. And we've had good people involved and bad people involved. That's why I value Masai Ujiri so much. That's why we'll fight for our front office against idiots that talk bad about them in every corner of the social media. Because I remember the Colangelo days. I remember the Babcock days. I remember the difference of what this franchise can be like if it's ran the wrong way. And that's why these guys are so important. And let's not get it twisted. Let's not get it twisted here. That's exactly right. Andrew's saying Masai is the saving grace of our franchise. In a lot of ways, this is exactly true. This is exactly true, Andrew. Yeah, I'm over 2 hours. Wow, we've a lot of talking today. Most saying W stream, W vibes. Keep at it always, Lex. Go Raptors for life. I will be here when I can. I appreciate that, Mo. I hope everything's going okay in your life and you're doing well. And I always worry and think about the best things for you. I want to send good energy to you, Monique, all times. And when I do see that you're not in the chat, I do worry that things are, I want you to be happy, healthy, and doing very well, Mo, all the time. That's right. Mike's saying the era of the red 3 claw shiny Raptors jersey. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Neil's saying G Leaguer has to say that they're the second best because they are given an opportunity to play in North America while they get better. The alternative is CBL or overseas. Many U.S. players try CBL too. Yeah, if they don't want to go all the way across the ocean and they do want to have maybe a little bit of a commute back home into the States, CBL can be very attractive to some American players to play in, for sure. For sure. Now, gauging whether the G League's better than CBL and stuff like that, well, I'm probably pretty sure the G League is better than the CBL right now. But it would be really fun to organize a North American tournament like the South American tournament, the African tournament, the European tournament of champions. Get the CBL champion, get the G League champion, get a champion from Mexico, get a champion from Puerto Rico, and have a little 4-team tournament. You have your best team from Canada, your best team from the U.S., and your best teams from those places. You don't even have to send the NBA team. Send the G League team. And let's see who is the true Intercontinental Cup champion to be represented from North America. In some ways, if the CBL gets better and better, well, maybe they should be challenging G League for the chance to go to the Intercontinental Cup when they have it every year. This is a yearly competition, y'all, just so you know. This isn't every 4 years like FIBA World Cup or the Olympics. They do the Intercontinental Cup every single year. So that's what I'm saying right there. Yeah, good stuff, Neil. Good stuff. Andrew's saying J. Cole, Scarborough legend. That's right, J. Cole, wearing a couple hats there, playing in the CBL. And Blackhawks saying Jalen Harris, CEBL champion. I think that's true. Yeah, Liz Cambridge. That's right. That's who that is. Liz Cambridge. She's 6'9". So, yeah, she's right up there. But I think she was wearing heels in that picture. She was very much standing at the same height as Koloko and JaVale McGee. Very, very interesting. Blackhawks saying there is a Clippers player from the CBL too, just not remembering his name right now. Well, I mean, there are really good players that come through here and play in the CBL also. Yeah, and there may be a little bit of double duty, like Amari Moore. Amari Moore playing for Niagara River Lions this past CBL season, winning the championship, and now he's on 905 this year too. So the CBL schedule kind of allows for G League guys or fringe guys to come and play in it too, and they will get extra money from playing in it too. So yeah, let's see. Mike's saying maybe Koloko's issue has a chance of recurring again. Didn't Bosch have blood clots as well? He made a comeback, but then had to retire quickly again. Maybe it's a similar thing. I think it is very similar thing. I think it is. And this may be part of it. I don't know. In some ways, I worry about this whole declaration that, like, yeah, you just have this medical condition. You can never play again. That's crazy, especially for somebody as young as Koloko. Chris Bosch at least got an NBA career before he actually got shut down and said, yeah, you can't anymore. But I also wonder about this. How long did Chris Bosch play in the NBA with this issue undetected and there wasn't an issue? I know they're being overly cautious, but also, I can suss things. I can get in a conspiracy theory kind of mindset when it comes to this. Seriously. And on Sunday, I will. We'll talk about it. Yeah. Yeah, let's see what else. Blackhawks saying Bosch failed to make a successful comeback once he announced blood clot. I'm not cussing, mama. All right, Neil, you want a dunk for being silly. I'll give you a dunk for that one. Yeah, the blood clot. Blood clot. All right, where's Blackhawk? He's right here. All right, you're at 48, my guy. 48 dunks for Neil. Good stuff. Good stuff. I love that. That's funny. Let's see. Carlos saying Raptors Hall of Fame, Jalen Harris, cocaine, and Jonte Porter gambling. Now, there's no guarantee that it was cocaine for Jalen Harris. They said that it was a dietary supplement of some sort that just happened to be on the banned substances list. Jalen Harris very simply said, I was taking something that everybody else takes, and I don't understand why I got in trouble. So, and some people say he was poppy seeds or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know if it was cocaine. I I kind of intimated that it might be when we saw the interview with him. And I knew he was high in the interview after the game. You could tell there were all the signs. I was like, man, this motherfucker's high. He's the player of the game and he's talking about it. And it's like 2 minutes after the game ended. How did he do that? Like in between, like, has he been high the whole game is what I'm wondering. I don't know. Andrew saying Malachi Flynn, bad at basketball. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Spurs Nation is not including him on the roster for the season and what they're putting out there. He's on the training camp roster and most likely to get cut, just like I said. Mike saying, yeah, I remember Bosch signing that max after Braun left. Then he had to retire then, and he tried to make a comeback like a year later. Well, it's weird. They wouldn't even let him play in this Goran Dragic game this summer. He showed up. He wanted to play in it, just like Nash and a lot of the old heads that did. But they said, no, Chris, you can't play still in some ways because of insurance. And he decided not to. He just came and appeared, and he didn't play in the game. So it's something that he's still dealing with, obviously, for some reason. Chris Bosch. Neil saying Brandon and Aldridge are the only players to come back. And they may not have had the same issues. This is what we can say. Like, did they have the exact same issues of blood clots? They may have had something else that wasn't allowing them to be cleared by the panel. And they may that they cleared it up and they got better. I mean, it may be that the doctors and the fitness to panel play are saying that Koloko, you need a long string of time where it shows no clot activity. And that, like, we can't just look at you for a month and decide this. We need to see you for 6 months. And then all of a sudden it's like him and Rich Paul is like, damn, they're not going to let us come back. And they're going to keep testing you for 6 months. Well, maybe mid-season or maybe in a year, maybe next offseason. I don't know. I don't know the details. It's all proprietary and they want to keep it secret. But it could be something like that the fitness for play panel wants to see over time. And time is not of the essence in this. If these guys sit on the shelf waiting for them to clear him, man, this is his young time to develop and get better as a young player. He'll be behind. He'll be behind if they wait longer and longer and longer. Cool Cat saying, man, I wanted Siakam leadership for Raptors instead of Pacers. Institutional knowledge and experience can't easily be replaced. Well, this is part of the problem here. In some ways, I worry about this with Scott, that he's not good at having leaders on the team because he wants to be the absolute leader. Whether, people that like Pensair with Scott and this bullshit with Fred, this has been an issue with Freddie, Dennis, and Pascal, where these guys were supposed to be the leaders, going to be around, Thad Young. And in some ways, Scotty's kind of like not totally taken to leadership from older players in the team as he should. I want to think this Scotty's listening to them and respecting them. But the thing that Siakam said recently makes me think that our young Raptors were not respecting Siakam's leadership, and that he would have been more vocal and teaching our young Raptors if they would have been more accepting of it. Because Siakam said straight up on his Instagram stories, I've tried to teach people in the past, but they didn't listen to me. And I don't like that. I don't continue to try and teach people when they don't listen to me. And I think that's him talking about obviously being on the Raptors, because that's the only team he played for ever. And he may be actually talking about our young Scott Wayne Barnes. So I don't like that. In some ways, I know Siakam is Scotty's favorite player, and Scotty always talks glowingly about Siakam, but there may have been some sort of action on the team in practice and hierarchy of leadership where Siakam didn't feel like Scotty was respecting his instruction. And I hate that. In some ways, that's a bad sign, a red flag with Barnes. And I don't want that. I don't want that. Scotty, you're the figurehead. And in some ways, if old leaders are saying that the youngsters weren't listening to him, like Freddie's saying this and Siakam, that's not good, Scott. In some ways, well, it's your era now. You're going to be in charge. You have the direction of people like Garrett Temple and Kelly Olynyk around, but you need to listen to them. And you need to understand you're still very young and you still have a lot to learn in this league. And if you rejected the leadership of Dennis Schroeder, Fred VanVleet, Thaddeus Young, or Pascal Siakam in the past, you need to get over yourself. Is what I'll tell our franchise guy that I love so much. I'm serious. I'm serious about this. This is one of my biggest fears about Scott, is that he's not listening to the older players on our team, and he's rejecting their leadership. And I don't want that. I don't want that at all. I don't want that at all. Blackhawk saying cocaine is a hell of a drug. I'm Rick James, bitch. Red House saying blessings, beloved Raptor freaks, most informative gang. Your hard work of love, faithfulness, and honesty will last lifetimes. So give your 100% today and always. I love that. Randolph, always good to see you in the chat, checking in with us. Randolph always has good words of wisdoms and blessings. We really, really appreciate longtime Raptor freak, Randolph Phillips. Cool Cat saying, I really hope Koloko's health issue allows him to return to basketball career. I do too. In some ways, look, of course, it's ideal if he returns and he comes to play for us and it helps him. But if he does even just return and he goes somewhere else, even if it's going to put a bad taste in my mouth, I'll be happy for him also, that the young man can get somewhere. But yeah, there's a couple of routes that he can go, and we'll have to see what happens, what the future has for him. He may be done forever. And that's what Doug Smith thinks. That's what my insider on MLSE thinks, that he's never, ever going to be clear to play ever again. And this is a mute point. And that's why Doug Smith said that. He said, y'all stop asking me about Koloko. It's not ever going to happen. It's what he's saying. Blackhawk saying, I actually believe Pascal's morphing to a more confident player. Yeah, he's been like, look, we got to look at his whole history of his whole career and where he came from and who he is and now where he is. In some ways, the new place, in some ways, he's in a new place. And there's a lot of young players on the Pacers, and they want direction. And in some ways, Halliburton's a young player himself. So Siakam's kind of the figurehead, old head franchise, veteran leader kind of guy. It's not like Hallie can't be like helpful in leadership, but maybe not in certain ways. And I think that this is something that's very rewarding for Siakam, that the young Pacers like Nebhard and Jarace Walker really look to him for instruction, and it's very rewarding to him. Unfortunately, that wasn't happening on our Raptor team for some reason. And I don't like that. In some ways, that is a red flag. And that's part of probably the reason why we had to move Anunoby and Siakam last year, is that there was on the down low maybe some issue with people not listening to Siakam trying to be a leader. And now he's got it in Indiana. It's just how it is. It's just how it is. Trevor's saying they said ESPN could not fire him because he was in the privacy of his own home, and what's not on ESPN business. Yeah. That's a good reason right there. In some ways, they shouldn't be extending so far into things, and they shouldn't be worrying about this anyway. This is a blip. This is a dumbass little thing. Now, Paul Pierce's incident was really crazy. You have to go watch the old footage if you can find it online. It's crazy. And in some ways, I understand why they did it with him. Also, you got to understand how important Shannon Sharp is to a degree as a talking head on that channel. He was way more valuable and important than Paul Pierce. And firing Paul Pierce made sense at that time. So, yeah, Mike saying, Lex missed the Jeopardy reference. Smooth answered the classic card with a question. So Blackhawk called Jeopardy. So I reformatted it to a real Jeopardy and called for the next answer in the classic card now. Because of the way that show's set up, Mike, that it's hard because it's like you're hard to figure out that somebody's just saying an answer and then you got to answer with a question. So please excuse my obliviousness to your joke there, but I appreciate it, Trebek. I appreciate it, Mike. Andrew's saying, yeah, she was 13 and Carl was in his 20s, I believe. The child she had is now a current NFL player. Yeah. Yeah, it's ugly. It's disgusting. And if Carl Malone does all the smoke, it'll be an epic episode. It really will be. Mike's saying Utah be doing those things for time. They got weird minor marriage laws. This didn't happen in Utah, though. He did this in Louisiana. Yeah, it wasn't in Utah. It was before he was actually even in the league, I believe. I think it was like when he was still at Louisiana Tech when he did this. Yeah. Let's see. Mike is saying 98 to 06 for Vince. It was 7.5 years. Yeah, I don't count the last year because honestly, he took it off. That's not totally accurate. I think that Vince showed up in '99, really, because they had a strike season. He didn't get to play a full first year. He started playing in like February of '99, and the '98 he never actually played in the actual year. So I don't count that in some ways. That's part of it too. I really look at Vince's stats and I'm like, he played 5 years on the Raptors. That's where I look at it. And that's the way I've always looked at it. But you can look at it a different way. That's fine. Andrew's saying, what doesn't sit right with me is how T-Mac continues to alienate Toronto. He went on TV and explained why it wasn't his fault. I was an 18-year-old in a foreign country, snow and ice and everything. Yeah, but that's not the whole statement. I can understand that perspective from a kid from Bartow, Florida, from Florida and stuff, and the culture shock and the weather shock of coming to Toronto. But you have to understand the whole statement from McGrady. McGrady said he was dumb and he was immature and he made a rash decision and he regrets leaving Toronto. And that right there is enough for me to hear that he's cool. In some ways, he regrets that he left Toronto. In some ways, he understands he may have had a chance to win a championship with Vince. And in some ways, Tracy's always talked great about Toronto. I don't understand where you're coming with this, Andrew, because I've heard Tracy talk about Toronto randomly on TV and media, and he's always said Toronto's great, man. Toronto's an amazing city. He doesn't put us down. He never has. And that part right there is just him talking about his first initial experience showing up. That's it. Yeah, Andrew said, I think Toronto is going to become a more attractive free agent destination with time. It has, but we haven't really gotten them. But in some ways, we're not really building a team around reliance on that. So that's not the way we work. We draft and we build up guys like Siakam and Anunoby. So that's kind of what our MO is as a franchise. The young players in this league see Toronto as a cool city with a big market. The mid-range guys would love playing here. The younger guys who come in the league love playing here. It's just some of the old heads that are big-time players, like people like James Harden, Paul George. Those kind of people are a little wary of coming here for some reason. And in some ways, those guys aren't necessarily guys we want anyway. They're the overpaid guys that are getting paid, and they're already at the heights of their powers. And a lot of them are on their decline. So in some ways, we're looking for guys on the way up the escalator and not guys that have already hit their peak and they're kind of like past their prime. And those are the guys that are more likely to reject coming here as free agents. Like everybody can say Philadelphia had the best free agent signing of Paul George this year. I don't agree with that. And that's the focus is that kind of thing. Big name going there, big money, all this kind of stuff. You know what? Whatever. You guys do what you do in Philly. You do it. Go ahead and do what you agree with that. I do remember a lot of it. I was at most of his games that he played for Raptors in Toronto. I was in the building at almost all those games, and I saw it live. I saw dunks in person. I saw it all. I really am very learned on Vince Carter's Raptors career, and that's why I want to be fair about this. I really do. Mike's saying the media was disrespectful towards Vince, saying he was fake hurt and calling his commitment to winning into question after everything he had done. Who wouldn't be pissed and want to leave anyway? Well, that's why I'm saying it's partly Doug Smith's fault because he was one of those people that was doing exactly what you're saying. And that's part of the reason why he wanted Vince to do the forward on his story. And he's done damage control for Vince since. Because in some ways, Doug Smith was not a friend to Vince Carter when everything was going bad. In fact, he was right in the middle of it with his reporting and making things worse. In some ways, Doug Smith was doing it to further his journalism career and not thinking about what's good for the Raptors or what's good for Vince Carter. And that's part of it right there. I still say this. Listen, Vince, if he was so upset and sad about newspapers and TV, well, fuck, that soft-ass motherfucker wouldn't survive in the social media age of now. So, disrespectful to him. Oh, my gosh. It's not like everybody doesn't get disrespected every which way all over the place in today's current world with social media. So yeah, Vince, you little pussy. You're all sad because they wrote something about it in the newspaper. Oh, did mommy want to make you feel better? Whatever, man. Mike, don't make excuses for this. They're athletes. They're in the public eye. That's part of why they get paid the big bucks. They're supposed to get some bad press sometimes. And, look, why wouldn't we think there's something wrong with him when all of a sudden his scoring average has dipped? And so all of a sudden the guy's not actually elevating off his feet in the middle of the game. In some ways, I don't blame Doug Smith for writing something about how it looks like he's fake hurt. Seriously, because he probably was playing a little bit of the fake hurt like Kawhi Leonard did to the Spurs, is what I'll say right there. Yeah, the media was doing the front office's dirty work and changed things. I don't think that's true either. I think they're inept. They didn't know what to do or say. And I think Doug Smith was just in the middle of it being an opportunist. And what sells papers? Controversy. So it's like any kind of controversy, they're all over it. Like in the beginning of the Raptors, what we learned reading Prehistoric by Alex Wong is that the media was not helping the Raptors. In some ways, they were very much making light of the problems with Pro Line when we were trying to set up the team, the problems with getting our arena. There was all kinds of basketball articles in the Globe and Mail, in the Sun, in the Star that were detrimental to the Raptors in the very beginning because it was bad press. So it's not like they were doing the dirty work for the front office. They were opportunists to sell papers, and they wanted controversy, and that's what they were doing. They love the feud between Brendan Malone and Isaiah Thomas in the first year of the Raptors. They put that on blast, and they made it a bigger and bigger deal than they had to because that was selling papers for them. So that's what it is, Mike. You got to understand that. They weren't doing the front office's dirty work. The front office was inept, and Doug Smith was an opportunist. That's what it is right there. Andrew's saying the media is always going to be overcritical because people are casuals and uninformed, just like how they were saying Scotty isn't a hard worker after his second year slump. Yeah, Scotty didn't have a slump. He just had a same level, but everybody expected him to jump up even further. And that's all that was. In some ways, he had an adjustment in his second year because Nick Nurse and the Raptors asked more of him. The first year, he could just have fun and go out and goof around and just be an added bonus on top of gravy. But he had more real duties on the Raptors in his second season. And that did not allow him to make his stats increase. And everybody saw him as like slumping. It's bullshit. He had a really good year his second year. And it was just that he had new additional duties that he had to take care of that he didn't have when he was a rookie. And that's a big thing that a lot of casuals aren't catching about it. And the people that said that stuff about Scotty in his second year. Third year, he showed a leap because he had built off of the stuff he'd learned from the first 2 years. And that's it right there. Andrew's saying let's see. They don't understand progression isn't linear. Exactly. You're substantiating my point just now. Scotty came up, he plateaued for a bit, and then he went up again in his third year. And I expect him to either continue on the same level he was last year, or maybe we see him rise up again this year. And that's what I'm hoping. The second one. Blackhawk saying Brandon Ingram, Marcus Aldridge had blood clots. Brandon is the longest playing player that had that condition. Okay, so they did have blood clots. So it was the same condition. Yeah, well, LaMarcus Aldridge, it was very late in his career when they were detected, and it did kind of end his career. He made a slight comeback with the Nets, but it wasn't substantial in any kind of way. Let's see. But yeah, Ingram, that's a big question mark. Why is Ingram able to play for the Pelicans and do he's traded now. He's not on the Pelicans anymore, I don't think. Is he? Where is he? Is he still on the Pelicans? I don't even remember where Ingram landed this year. Mike's saying, I said 7 to 8 years, but that lockout season, VC won the Rookie of the Year. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to remember it because I remember it from being in the middle of it, and it felt like only like 5.5 years of him being on our team. Yeah, but you're probably technically right. We could say 7 years is probably technically right. I don't know. Cool Cat saying Pacers gave Pascal the power to mentor the youngins internally and publicly. Youngins have no choice but to listen to him, and youngins also want to learn too. It seems mutual. That's the great thing, and that's what Siakam was trying to get across. Is it feels good to be validated as a leader on this team and like listened to and valued. And in some ways, I don't think he got that feeling from young people on our team, unfortunately. And that's too bad. I mean, seriously, if there's anybody on the Raptors that has not listening to each other, you need to get over yourself, is what I'm saying right now. You need to get over yourself. Blackhawk saying, it's good to see this side of Pascal. I'm happy for him. I am too. I'm not a hater on this. And in some ways, like I said, I'm more worried about the guys who are still on our team, that if they're not willing to do this. But if these guys get older and they're just the powerful, most important player on the team, well, then it'll be fine. But they need to understand that why would you expect young people to give you the respect that you were supposed to give the guys before you, before is what I would say. And you know what I'm talking about right now. And I love that guy. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong and off base about what I'm saying right now. Yeah. Mike's saying the front office was trying to create tension between Vince and the fans. The front office was trying to push blame. I don't think they were that smart. I don't think it was anything like that. And I wouldn't say the front office. You may be able to say the MLSE. Seriously, we got to remember also that MLSE being in charge with Richard Petty and the hockey people having a big part of this, they wanted to hold down and muddle things. It could very well be this, Mike. Let's look at this. Let's wonder is this. What if they saw the popularity of the Raptors exploding with Vince and the Vince sanity, and they wanted to ruin it? Like they saw a lot of good momentum for the sport of basketball and the NBA in Toronto, that MLSE board members that were not involved with the Raptors directly, but more with the Leafs, were trying to subjugate and hurt the Raptors indirectly from within the organization. I don't think any GM in the world would piss off Vince Carter on purpose. They'd be like, yeah, we want you here. It could very well be there were Leafs officials that were doing this action that you're saying. But I don't see Brad Babcock doing this because honestly, his job was on the line. And in every kind of way, he needed Vince to be successful. And that doesn't make any sense for what he wanted to do. Now, I could see MLSE people, Leaf people, trying to be confusing and detrimental to the Raptors from the other side because they're worried about the sport of basketball becoming more popular than hockey. So I could see that. You're going to say front office. How about we just say MLSE and maybe even the Leaf side of things? Yeah, how about that? Because they're within the same building and they could be stirring the pot and doing stuff like that in certain ways. Yeah. So I could blame Richard Petty. I could blame Rob Babcock. I could blame the coach, but I'm also going to blame Vince. And I'm going to blame Michelle Carter also. How about that? Yeah, Blackhawks saying, I believe in paying it forward. Every minute Pascal spends showing the rookies how to get better will come back to him tenfold. Yes, and the players that are like that, like DeMar DeRozan, like Kyle Lowry, these are great, great, great players, and their legacy lives on through the players they mentor. And that's the fantastic thing about it. One of the things that Dominique Wilkins interview this week is he revealed that Anthony Edwards has no parents and that he was like one of the main mentors from him. Of course, Dominique went to Georgia Bulldogs, and so was Anthony Edwards. And that in some ways, Anthony Edwards has been mentored and taught by Dominique Wilkins and Steve Smith, is what they were saying in that interview. So why Anthony Edwards? If your mentor is Dominique Wilkins, why would you say something stupid like the only player with skill in the 90s was Michael Jordan? When your guy from Georgia, who's been an important person to you, who's helped you out, why would you stab him in the back like that? Well, Dominique said, I'm sick of these young players talking trash about the generations. And he may have been actually talking to his young mentor, Anthony Edwards, when he said that. Yeah. Let's see. Kareem saying, I want to see Pascal become an alpha male. At that point, he will truly be unstoppable. But unfortunately, he's too nice and passive at times. Yes. And this is something I've cried out for Pascal the whole time he's a Raptor. And the next stage of him taking over is being that guy. You know, Dominique talking in this interview about how Michael and Larry were like, we're going to take your heart out. Like, we want that in Siakam. I've been calling out for that. In some ways, I agree with you, Kareem. He's too passive and nice. And we need that asshole that Larry Bird was in him. Like, I'm going to kill you. And I'm going to fucking make you feel like you don't even belong in this league because I'm going to beat you so bad. And in some ways, that's something I was crying out for the last few years of Siakam on our team, especially when he was the man, obviously the top player on the Raptors. And I was like, it's your time, Siakam. Go like Jordan and be that kind of guy. But it's just not in his DNA, I think. I think he's just not that kind of guy. He's just a really nice guy. And in some ways, you either have it or you don't. You're either like Kobe and Michael and Larry, or you're not. And very few players in this league are like that. In fact, Dominique Wilkins told Kobe Bryant this in his career. He said, Kobe, you're the last one like us, guys. You're like the last one that has the same mentality that we had back in the day about we're not friends with anybody. We're coming to kill you. We're going to kick your ass. We're going to beat you up. We're going to kill you and humiliate you. You're the last one. You're the last of our breed from the 80s and the 90s that is this kind of NBA player. And he said, when Kobe retires, that player will no longer be in this league anymore. That's how Wilkins sees it. That's how Dominique sees it. That Kobe Bryant was the last one of those old school kind of players that was out there cutthroat, coming to kill people. And that's too bad that it doesn't really exist in this league. You can look at LeBron, the way he is and how he does things. You can look at Kevin. You can look at the main top stars in this generation that are close to retiring. And yeah, Dominique doesn't think that they're the same breed as the guys he played with back in then. And I think he's right. I think he's right. And that's sad that kind of player kind of went extinct in the NBA when Kobe retired. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, Seymour's saying, y'all still on and active. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I've been doing a little bit of Lexathons. I think the chair is comfortable. That's why. Trevor got me a new chair. And I'm like, man, I'll just sit here all day and talk. Yeah, I'll just do that. 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. That's right. It is 12 noon now here. It's almost lunchtime. I got to get out of here. And I am a half hour over my cutoff. But it's Friday, and we're talking. It's fun. Blackhawk saying, Pascal with alpha, you can count on it. I hope so. I hope he does it. You think he'll alpha up? Well, he's got the opportunities on the Pacers. I want to see you get a championship for that franchise, Siakam. I really, really do. I want to see the Pacers go for the championship. And I love in the clip that is showing him mentoring them. He's like, guys, we got to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. That's not good enough. We need to push even further. That is the level we got to last year. We need to go to the next level. And that's how he's mentoring these young Pacers right now. He's saying, look, this is this. We got to go even higher. We got to work even higher to get there. And that's what I'm saying. I'd love to see Siakam lead that Pacers franchise to their first ever NBA championship, just like he did for ours. And that would be a beautiful, amazing thing. And that will ensconce him in the history of the NBA as a very, very, that'll give him respect instantly right there. So, yeah, I'm all about a Pacers Larry O'Brien. I really am. If we're not going to be involved in it, I definitely am going to throw it behind our former Cameroonian player, Pascal Siakam. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, Ingram's still on the Pelicans. So he didn't get traded in that deal with DeJounte Murray because that's what happened, right? DeJounte Murray got traded. And I thought that Ingram went in the trade to the other way to the Hawks. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. In some ways, I don't really care. Mike is saying this. Hang on. Where's the comment here? All right, let me see. Mike is saying Bosch left after 6 years and planned years ahead to leave quickly. Yeah, he had planned like 2 years before he left to leave. Yeah, he was on autopilot for a while there. Most saying, go rest. Yeah, I will very soon. And Andrew's saying, Lex working overtime today, just a little bit. And Mike's Neil's saying to Mike, true, he played out his contract and left. Yeah, I mean, in some ways it is what it is. He left us high and dry. The thing with Bosch, it's not really, I mean, I was disappointed when he left and he went there, but I understand the reasoning that he wanted to win a championship, and he did put in his time with us. He did sign one contract and do a contract after his rookie contract with us, and I'll give him credit for that. The thing with Bosch is he's never shown any love for Raptors Nation since, hardly at all. It's very much he ignores us. It's almost like he forgot that he played for the Raptors, and he's just Miami Heat Nation now, completely ensconced in it. He really is a big part of their community, and he's totally active around Heat Nation, and he doesn't do jack shit with the Raptors. So that's why I kind of diss Bosch, and why I don't think we should retire his number is because in some ways he's turned his back on us. Now, they've retired his number down in Florida already, but they've never retired him here. And yeah, that says something right there. So it is what it is. You want to be Heat Nation, you can be Heat Nation. You want to go into the NBA Hall of Fame as a Heat player in a Heat jersey, you go ahead. You're a Heat champion. But yeah, you turned your back on the original team. Don't expect to come around and get the kudos like Vince is trying to do right now. Just the same. That's what I would say about that. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. What else are we saying here? Let's see. Mike is saying, I think the front office said to themselves, we don't need Vince. They thought with a rebranding, they could be fine with Bosch. I don't know. You're kind of putting hearsay in this. First of all, I wouldn't say anybody in the front office knew what they were doing or what they were thinking at all. Because honestly, they were all over the map and they were making mistakes left and right. And that deal that they set up with Alonzo Mourning and the Williamses for Vince was absolutely a disaster and a masterclass of very horribly GMing in the NBA. So, yeah, I wouldn't give them any credit about them putting any thought into anything. How about that, Mike? 95 to 05 was purple, the first decade, then like 8 years of red, then Masai fused the eras together. Yeah, I don't agree with this. We're not fusing the purple era with the red era. I would say this. The first part is purple. The next part is red. And this part is black. I would say really like you could say there's 30 years, 10 years of purple, 10 years of red, and 10 years of black. And that's more likely more accurate in some ways. It's the black and red of the Raptors at this point. And fusing the purple, that's only for nostalgia on select games to honor our 30th anniversary. We're not wearing purple last year. We're not going to be wearing purple next year. I'm sorry, purple fever freaks. That's just not happening. Our colors are red and black. Those are our primary colors at this point. And that's just how it is. That's just how it is. Cool Cat saying, guys are forgetting that Pascal still started basketball late in life and culture. I even realized on some clips this summer, you can see English is his second language. He didn't know certain meanings. No, I agree with this. And we talked about this extensively over the last couple of years. Why is Siakam not more driven in certain ways as far as competition? And it could very well be partly his upbringing and just kind of his late coming to the sport of basketball in his life. You know, little kids can be out there on the court and they get really maniacal about playing against each other when they're very young, and it instills it early. You know, maybe some of it is partly that Siakam played football and it was a very team-oriented team game where you're not really trying to kill each other or individualistic. And he has that mindset to a degree with the way he plays basketball. I don't know. Either way, the killer instinct of the old 80s and 90s NBA player is extinct. And it's not even just a symptom of Siakam. In a lot of ways, it's a lot of guys in this league like this. Now, Anthony Edwards, maybe he has some of that killer instinct, like he wants to go and kill somebody in the way he plays. Maybe there are a few players that are still high level that are able to kind of do that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not common anymore. And that's why we shouldn't be disappointed in Siakam because he's not getting to that level of that kind of Jordan mentality. It's more like, well, in some ways, this is a symptom of the league being the way it is more in some ways than actually Siakam in some ways. Yeah. Yeah. Andrew's saying it was Dyson Daniels and a few picks. Dyson Daniels was who? Oh, what are you talking about? Dyson Daniels. Oh, for DeJounte Murray. Thank you, Andrew, for clearing that up. Yeah. Yeah. Cool Cat saying his arc and time frame will be different from players. We have not seen Siakam's best yet. He's growing still. Well, I hope so. And Blackhawk agrees with you. I hope so. I want all the best for Siakam. I'm not a hater. And as I said, I want him to win a championship with the blue and the gold. I really, really do. So Pacers fan, if you're watching me, I am rooting for y'all. You're actually my favorite team to win the NBA. I'd love for you guys to win. I'll be rooting for you guys. If the Raptors aren't realistically a championship contender, I'll put all my chips behind the Indiana Pacers. I really, really will. And a big part of it is because I really do love Siakam a lot. Yeah, yeah. Trevor's saying, Lex, you're getting your energy back. You're sitting longer. I know, Trevor. This chair is making the stream longer. I really should not go close to 3 hours. So we got to finish up real soon. Mike's saying the front office tried to distance themselves from purple so much they never paid respect to the era. In the Messiah era, we have worn red, black, white, and purple. But once again, Mike, the purple is only there on 20th anniversary, 25th anniversary, and 30th anniversary. It is not one of our established colors. In fact, gold is more of an established color for us than purple is right now. So yeah. I mean, we wanted a rebrand. We wanted to change things, and we did. And I thought it was the right idea and it was the right thing. I wasn't upset when they did that. I really wasn't. And I've always enjoyed Raptors jerseys being red. And I may be in the minority of all the crazy Purple Fever fans, but once again, don't get it twisted. Our colors are red and purple. And purple was an old color of ours. It's not as important anymore. It's not one of our main colors. It's a historic color. I don't know why you're saying we didn't respect the era. What are we supposed to respect? We are respecting the era. We're going to do a 30th anniversary celebration all year long, and we're going to bring out a lot of old players from back then. You know, we got this prehistoric book by Alex Wong. We're learning about the history. In some ways, what are we supposed to respect? The fact that we built a successful NBA franchise in the country of Canada, in the city of Toronto, when that didn't happen in Vancouver? Should we respect that we made a very cool culture by John Batove Jr. starting the Raptors as an owner and doing what he did? Should we respect Mighty Mouse? Yes, we should respect all those things. But also that team lost a lot. And in some ways, people don't respect losing in the NBA. And that's part of it, Mike, right there. Yeah, even blue. Yeah, blue's been a color of ours, very on the side, only because of the Huskies. The Huskies jerseys were blue back in the day, and we wore throwback Huskies with DeMar and Kyle. I think in the 15th year, we could actually say the 15th year anniversary of the Raptors, we wore the old Huskies jerseys for a little bit there. Yeah, Blackhawks saying, I like all the dinosaur jerseys and the black and gold city jerseys. The Chevron jerseys suck. Well, everybody's got opinions, and I get it. In some ways, the Chevron has been on our jersey since Vince. It's on the edge of it. And in some ways, I'm glad they flipped it from instead of going up and down, they go up now in some ways. and they symbolize a moving up and going up and getting better and better in the standings. So yeah, everybody's got their own personal opinions on different jerseys. I know my favorite Raptors jerseys, and I know my least favorite Raptors jerseys. My least favorite Raptors jersey is the camouflage jersey, the one that Jose Calderon and those guys wore that one time. That is my least favorite Raptors jersey. My favorite Raptors jersey is the red jersey with the white chevron that they won during the championship run. That one, they've retired it. We can't get it anymore. That's the best one. Earned, not given. That one right there. Yeah. Yeah. Mike's saying bring back the jerseys that the OG Pioneer Raptors wore. Pay respect to all the hard work they put in. The purple era highs were the building blocks to where they are now. You tried the good with the bad. Yeah, I won't disagree with all that. We done the purple dinosaur jerseys year 20 and year 25. We had the jerseys of the dinosaur, those two anniversaries. In some ways, we got to go through the history and look back. Well, we got to go to different eras. And well, the purple front black back jersey is probably the one for this year. As much as everybody wants dinosaurs on our jersey this year, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. We'll have to see. All right, I'm at the end of the chat finally. Let me go ahead and just make sure I didn't miss anything. We talked about AJ Griffin. It's really too bad. It's really, really too bad, that whole thing with him. Let's see what else. There's open tryouts for the 905 is what Trevor's putting in our chat there. The WNBA Fantasy Championships is still going on. It's very close between MK and David, 259 to 222. So it's about a 37-point lead for MK right now. That's very doable. And I've kind of widened the gap on Kareem right now, 252 to 176 in the last couple of days. I'm putting in a really good effort, butt dial, and I am really trying to get this bronze because I want it. I want it. So you got to come correct, my guy. You got to come correct if you're going to beat me at the end of this. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Mischief's here. Good to see Mischief. Hope all is well with you guys, Lex. We got a few weekends of good weather. Let's enjoy while you can. Well, good news. We're going to have good weather until the middle of October. We're going to have summer until October. The weather people have said this, and they're forecasting it, Mischief. So yeah, extended summer through the rest of September and even into October. So Mischief, don't worry. We got good weather for a while still. And the seasons have shifted. Mike's saying Lowry wore the Dino Mighty Mouse jersey during the parade for a reason. No, I agree with this, Mike. I mean, in some ways, I'm not arguing with you at all on this. I'm just saying, yeah, we're going to honor our past, and we're going to do that this season. It's the 30th anniversary season. But too many people in Raptors Nation are overreacting. And they're like, just do the rebrand. And they just want us to completely go back to retro jerseys 24/7. And that's just not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. Let's keep the past in the past, and we'll honor it, and we'll bring out people and remember it. But let's keep moving forward and keep looking towards the future. That's what I would say as a Raptors fan. Yeah, Cool Cat saying, what happened to AJ Griffin? What did I miss? I joined late. He's considering retiring at the age of 21. That he's very, very close to just saying, I'm walking away from the game. And I'm speculating that there's a lot of turmoil in the Griffin family, especially since his dad got fired by the Bucks. So yeah, that's what's going on, Cool Cat. There's news in the last day or so that AJ Griffin is considering retiring from the NBA completely at the age of 21. So yeah, that's the news there. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me today. Tomorrow we'll do a Saturday Share the Love Club for Eric Smith of the Fan 590. Great radio analyst and color and play-by-play person for the radio. Him and Paul Jones have been an institution for a long, long time on the radio. Smith and Jones, great podcast also. We're going to go over the career of Eric Smith around the Raptors and just really give the love to him as one of the long standing Raptors contributors to Raptors culture and Raptors broadcasts, Eric Smith. That's right. We're going to take care of E tomorrow, guys. 9:30 a.m. Saturday morning, Saturday Share the Love Club. Eric Smith, y'all. Come on in. We got to give everybody their flowers. And Eric, we're proud of you. And thank you for doing that jersey raffle for a great cause this past week. This is why you're getting it, my guy, because you did something badass. And that's why we got to share the love for E. That's right, Eric Smith. Let's go. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's go.